All right, we're doing a live replay review with Draugr Diamond 3 in PC. So we're going to be covering two games for you, one on Midtown, we're going to be playing Rein Winston, and another on Winston and Orisa. So I've watched both of these replays, and I also skimmed through the other replays that you sent, which we're not going to have time to cover most likely. Overall takeaways, I'll start with that, and then we'll jump into the gameplay. So number one, I think your mechanics and game sense are generally good. Confidently diamond level. Like I look at this, I'm like, yeah, this feels diamond. Doesn't feel like low diamond. Some of the stuff I think feels maybe higher diamond, but we can talk about that. But like overall, I think yeah, this feels very solidly diamond on PC to me. I think, however, your primal rage mechanics feel below diamond to me, and your general aim is only average diamond. Yep. But this is counterbalanced by the fact that I think your game sense is actually better than your aim. So I think that, everyone's got a different split of game sense and aim, right? Like I would say, in my level I play like low GM, I think my game sense is actually a little better than my aim is, and that's what like kind of pulls me into low GM. But like I think there are other GM players that definitely aim better than me, even on tank, and so that's like kind of where the gap is. So
yeah, I'd 100% agree. I mean, like that's kind of why I like Winston, Rein. I feel like these are like the brain heroes, Yep,
exactly. I think Winston's actually a really good fit with you. Like I can see when you're playing, like I can see you thinking, like you do a really good job of checking your team, trying to figure out like where can I jump. Like you don't basically never die like after jumping in, which is great. Which I think is definitely above average for Masters, like for Diamond. I could totally see if we just looked at the decision making, I would believe that this is Masters. But the mechanics, especially around Primal, really let you down.
Okay.
And that falls into a general theme across all three of your main heroes, Winston, Reinhardt, and Orisa. You get below average value from ultimate from all three of them. And so, for example, if your Winston ultimates only killed one person, like ever, I think you literally would be in Masters right now. Like literally, like if we just changed like that one thing, that would probably be enough that you played enough games, it'd probably get you in Masters. But I don't think you consistently kill anybody with your Primal Rage like ever. Not in the games that I saw. So that's holding you back.
No, I agree. And also, just a second note, if I could play Monkey every game, I'd be like the happiest person in the world. So,
yeah.
Like, I know most people are like, "Oh, new hero." Like everyone's playing this Alari. That's mostly why I'm playing tank right now. But Winston could be the only tank. I'd be so happy.
Yep. Yeah, it makes sense because you're also Masters in support, right? So it makes sense that your game sense is better than your mechanics. Because if they were tied, you'd already be in Masters by now. But it's not just Primal Rage, though. I think your Shatter timings are not good either. Terrors are just a really hard ultimate to get a lot of value out of, but you don't even get like a little bit of value out of it often, and we're going to cover that. So I think that's probably the most common theme here is your ultimates are just not getting enough value, even for Diamond. Like they're like Platinum level ults. If you get them to Diamond, that might be enough to already push you into low Masters, and if you get them into like high Diamond value, you're probably already into like Mid Masters plus. The last thing I wanted to note is you do have overlapping brawl tanks. So you have Rein, Orisa, and Winston, which is not a ton of flexibility in your hero pool. So your only dive is Winston, which you're really good at. You have no poke, which means if you get into a situation where they're running like Pharah, Bastion, Ramatra, or whatever, like Orisa, you're kind of stuck because you can't dive into them and you can't brawl into them either. So you kind of get put into a bad situation where we don't have a lot of options.
Yeah, so I played those games and they feel like crap.
Yep, exactly. If you were going to learn another hero, I would say Sigma would be like the number one hero that I would recommend. Diva would probably be number two as a backup, because Diva also gives you a lot more versatile options. I don't think you have to do it to get Masters by any means. I think you definitely have enough with these three heroes to get there. But if you did want to learn another hero, those are the two that I would recommend. Okay, any questions about any of that before we start?
Now let's get into it.
Okay, so I have a bunch of notes. So for the parts where I don't have notes, we're going to skip through relatively quickly because not a lot happens. I'll be skipping in 5-second increments. If you want me to stop or like ask a question, just feel free to jump in.
Yeah.
So we're going to start the game here. You're going to farm some ultimates. That's fine. Yep, get hit with Fire Strike. One note here is your Fire Strikes are also not as good as they could be. And you throw Fire Strikes, sometimes they're low percentage. Something to think about is often in the poke phase, you basically never have like a very low chance of killing someone with a Fire Strike. Like obviously your Fire Strike alone only does 100 damage, but like you could combo with someone else. But a lot of times that's not possible. So when you use your Fire Strike, you should be thinking to farm your ultimate very, very quickly. Because Reinhardt farms ultimate faster than like the vast majority of heroes in the games. I would say like 90% plus of heroes in the game. So you can farm ultimate really quickly. And one way you do that is consistently hitting a Fire Strike one a single target. And obviously, if you're fire striking somebody like really far away, the odds of you hitting them is very low. But if the Orisa's here, just fire strike her. It's okay. Like you can just throw a fire strike at her just to help farm ultimate. You get 30% less ult charge, but it's better than 0. And we're gonna see some of your fire strikes that like clearly aren't gonna hit anybody.
I don't know if this holds true, but I really that first fire strike charge is like my low percentage one. I'll just spam out.
Yep.
And then the second one I try to be a bit more conservative with, but I don't know if that's actually reflective in the play.
Yeah, I think that's
how I think about it.
I think that probably feels about right. But like, let's look at this one right here. Right? So your first two you threw, both of them landed, which is good, right? We're good here. This one right here does not feel like a good fire strike chance, right? Orisa's already spinning, and they're split right now.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a symptom of something else I've been doing. Is I try to start the flame strike or fire strike from like in covers. That way, it's like they have less time to react. But I think my aim's just not good enough to like flick that quickly.
Yeah. Because the thing is, you started this after she started spinning, so it's a good thing to start your fire strikes right on cover. But like you actually start, but like it's like a split second thing. I'm just noting this because it's gonna come up later too. But like this one, like, you know, it is what it is, right? You threw it. Obviously, here, when she started spinning, I would have thrown it to the left to try to hit the Illari. But like, I don't think that this is likely to land. That's fine, right? You blocked the javelin. Okay, good. So I think right now you're like, hey, obviously. Oh, I should start this. Rein versus Orisa is a super hard matchup.
Oh yeah.
There's not a lot of tank matchups that I would be like, I would almost always like force like swap off this. Rein versus Orisa is one of the ones where I would swap off. I like never lose games against Reinhardt when I play as Orisa. Like I can't remember losing a game. Like I literally win like 85-90% if they're gonna force Reinhardt. I think it's super hard because our whole kit messes you up really badly. But
yeah, I think I do switch this game. But
yep,
yeah.
you do after first point and then one more death. If you do need to fight this out, which of course, like right now you can't suicide, right? That's clearly the wrong choice to suicide. You have to fight this out. Think about what your advantages are. Number one, AoE damage, right? Both with Fire Strike and your Hammer Swing, you can hit multiple targets, while she can only ever hit one. So if you can group up her team and get in there, even if she's kind of spinning and messing with you, if you can land a multi-hit, that can get a lot of value. Number two, if she's used Javelin, you can outmaneuver her, right? And often, especially at this level, I would say, Orisa's will just spam Javelin, like basically off cooldown. If she spams a Javelin, right, and then you block it, and then you charge in, you might be able to kill someone in the back line, right, or displace like her whole team as an opportunity. And I do think you look for them, but I'm just noting that as another option. Number three is you farm ultimate faster, as I mentioned. Like right now, look, you're already at 30% and she's 11, right? You have defender's advantage, but this is a good example. Like you can be way ahead of her in ultimate. And the fourth one, which is most important, Shatter can consistently land against Orisa. Because once Fortify is forced out, there's nothing she can do to stop it. And even with Fortify, unless she happens to line of sight block her team, you can still get them. Granted, she can stop you from killing them by getting in your way, but just noting that. Okay. So, right here, yeah, you're good, right? You're just kind of like playing this angle. I think this is all totally fine. I think I would be doing basically the exact same thing. I wouldn't have thrown that Fire Strike, for example. I think that was like unlikely to land, because you already saw how low she was, and even if you hit her, it wouldn't have killed her, so it's not worth the risk.
Quick tangent here. If the tank, I play like against like Sigma here on this map, and the tank will move like their left side down this, I guess my right path.
Yep, this
like
way.
Around here.
Far side, wide angle, yeah.
Yeah, you would say it's usually correct to like mirror that and play on that same pillar.
I would. It's a good question. I think there's a lot of variables here. I think the biggest variable is if I play here, if I need to leave, am I gonna die? Right. So for example, if they're playing like Widow here and Bear in the air, I'm not gonna die. Right? Yeah. I can stay here, I can mirror the Sigma all day. But if the Sigma's like moving up with like a Bastion and a Cassidy, I'm not making it out of this, right? I'm like stuck at this pillar, because if I release shield and try to walk away or charge away, I'm probably gonna die before I can get away. I think that's my biggest factor. If I look at that and I look at the comp of Sigma, I'm like, I can't touch that. Then I'm just gonna go and play Fire Truck. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep. Alright, so you look for the charge right now with the Orisa's vulnerable. I think this is a good call. You get Javelin, so what? No big deal. All this is buying time, right? Which is all good. That's another example of a low percentage Fire Strike. Like you see, like they're really far away. Versus like if you're gonna chuck it straight down this way when the Orisa might walk back to the right to match you, like she does right there. Like that's a much better opportunity than that one.
I can almost guarantee you when I was playing these games, because I was playing these games knowing you were gonna review them.
Yep.
I think every Javelin, every Fire Strike I draw, I'm just like, okay, Adder's gonna point that out. God damn it.
I mean, it's part of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
This, I mean, I don't even want to talk about the Fire Strike, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's close enough. Alright. So you got some options. I think playing left side's still good, right? Left side's safe. The thing is about defense is you only really get one fight on most of the hybrid maps, right? For with this capture point followed by payload, you should make it the best fight that you can. So try to avoid taking big risks. It's the reason why in Blizzard World, nobody plays at higher level. Nobody plays up at the gate, right? Everybody plays way back in the point because that's the best defensive advantage. So like, yeah, you might have little opportunities where like maybe it's a 55% win chance if you try to chase somebody down, but risks are bad for defense. On offense, you want to take risks because you 4 minutes, you have 8+ tries to try to take the point. But on defense, you got to play safe for the most part and not take risks unless something goes not your way. Like if I lose a DPS, then I start taking risks because I'm going to lose by default no matter what.
Right.
So this is a really good example. Yep. So one important thing to play against Orisa is always think about kidnap, right? Where kidnap is where she spins in / javelins you out of position, and then you're in big trouble. So the Orisa is way behind you at this moment in time. There is no reason why she should not just spin in behind you, then javelin you to the wall, and just sit here in the doorway, because you'll have to fortify in like 3 more seconds after that point, and just kill you. Because there's nothing you can do. At that point, you're like guaranteed to die. Now, she doesn't read this fast enough. See? She's like not quite quick enough, but it's a possibility. I think you get back fast enough that well, she could have javelined you right here. If she javelined you right here into this spot, you would have died. But the timing is very, very tight. I'm just noting that this felt like a very unnecessary risk to me to take that swing at the Cassidy around the corner. Because you've been getting away with it like all game, which is I think why you went for this extra one. But he's already too far away, and you could have died there.
Yeah, I think I am like conscious of that like play from the Orisa, but yeah, maybe I should respect it more. You're right.
Yep. So again, at this level, I think you just don't get punished enough for it, and that's like the hard thing when I give people advice, because like you don't get punished now, but you will get punished later.
You're right though. So, like,
yeah. So their Pharah is killed 1, so I already recognize that. I'm like, look, we're in a 4-on-5 situation. I have 2 choices. Number 1, I can try to look for an advantage right now to try to get a kill and try to trade up and maybe turn it back into a 50-50 fight. Option number 2, I can kind of concede the space and play back in fire truck and play point and try to delay
the fight.
Exactly, right? Because expecting, like, I'm probably going to lose this fight, but why don't I bleed another 30, 45, 60 seconds off the clock versus if I accelerate the fight, if I die, then I only bleed 15 seconds off the clock because they run the point and they cap it right away. So you're down 1, right? You try to pull back here. I think this is the right call to try to slow down here. You look for the Pharah. I don't think that Pharah strike was ever gonna land. Like, you can see her through the glass. It's like very obvious to me she's not gonna walk into this. But that's okay. So you get stuck in no man's land. Like out here, at this moment in time, they honestly all should just focus on the shield and killed you. But they're busy worrying about your high ground team. Over here, I honestly would have just retreated behind the truck this way. But you do manage to get back, which I think is just their mistake for not punishing you for being stuck out in the open with half shield.
I think here you get super uncomfortable too.
Yep. So the thing is, like, this is not a viable spot to be playing against this type of lineup down a DPS. Like, you just don't have enough here. Like, I think you feel it too. Like, you're standing here and you're like, this isn't gonna work. Like, you have the Yari here, and you have the Genji, and you have you, right? So you have, she's not really high damage, but she can like maybe focus somebody down. Genji's like an okay spammer, versus you have the Cassidy here, you have the Orisa spamming your shield, you have the Yari here, and you have a Pharah who's also like damage pocketed. There's no way this is gonna work. And I think you know that, and you rotate. But I think that it's tough here because I would have rotated sooner, but your team is also still up there. But the Genji can always get out. The Yari, however, might die. So yeah, and that's exactly what happens here.
Yeah, that's like the hard thing to balance too, because like I can't. You said I feel it. I shouldn't be playing there, but it's like my team's there. It's like I mean, like who makes who takes the initiative there and is like, we're not playing here, guys. You know.
Exactly.
It could be me.
Yeah, if you want to use voice comms, you can tell people, be like, hey, look, rotate the point, right? Something simple. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to get triggered by that. I think it's a pretty reasonable, like, as soon as you lose the Pharah, be like, hey, rotate the point, if you can think of it fast enough. But yes, the Yari definitely should be leaving. I mean, the problem is she's hindered now, even though she's trying to run, like, she's trying to run more or less full speed.
No, I play with, I play with voice comms off.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, at this point, like, there's just literally nothing you can do. And this is kind of the problem in general with playing, like, Rein versus Orisa. You can't dictate anything about the fight, which is different than when you play as Winston, right? As Winston, you see opportunities, you go in, you force them to have to deal with you. As Reinhardt against Orisa, you're just constantly getting pushed back. Like, there's nothing you can do. You just stare there with shield open. You get some swings in, but ultimately, you have no ability to actually stop this fight. I think this is fine. Like, honestly, everything here is just fine. Like, it's not... Nothing here is going to make a difference in winning or losing the fight. Like, you have almost no chance of winning.
Mm-hmm. Can you open this map with Winston often? Like, because I feel like this is such a good Rein corner that...
I would personally play... So it would depend a little bit on my lineup. So I would probably open here on So in the old days, I would say I open here at Ramatra almost every single time. I think I really like Ramatra here. Ramatra's a lot less popular now for a variety of reasons. But I would probably try selecting Ramatra and then see what my team goes. So if I was playing with this team right here, like if I open as Ramatra and then they all selected this, I would immediately go Sigma. Because the only, like, Yari is not a good healer. She's not a main healer. That's, like, very clear. She's not a main healer. And she's also not so good at offense because her pylon doesn't move with you. Like, she's, like, better at defense in that sense. Which is not to say that she's not viable on offense, but, like, you're going to get even less healing on offense because as soon as you push a corner, she's going to have to reset the pylon. The Mercy is never going to be with me. So I don't have enough healing here, typically, if I try to play, like, a brawly tank, like a Rein or a Orisa, to be able to stay up in the situation. But if I play Sigma, I can be 100% effective with just the Yari healing. Like, I don't need anything else. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. I think knowing the amount of healing you get from your team, like, and how greedy you can be is really, really, really important. Like, if I see my team go, like, Mercy Zen or something, I'm not going to be playing a Brawl hero because I just know there's not enough healing. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I think I tell myself, like, I just need to be more conservative, but then I just end up playing the same way anyways. When I have these, like, lower healing lineups. But,
Yep. Yeah, and it's tough, right? Because, like, sometimes you just get people where they can't play or won't play something else, and, you know, you just make the best of it. But that's when having, like, a deeper hero pool, especially, like, less greedy. Like, Sigma's one of the least greedy tanks in the game. Right. So, like, arguably the least greedy tank. I mean, I would say that Sigma arguably even needs less healing than Roadhog, who has a massive self-heal but takes way more damage. So Sigma can stay up for forever. Yeah. So just playing the corner here. Again, not a lot you can do. You're close to the shatter, so I understand saving or staying as Rein here. I probably would have switched because I would have felt so ineffective for the first point where I'm like, I don't think anything's going to change even with shatter in the second point.
Yeah.
Okay, playing the corner. Missed the fire strike there. Still playing the corner. We're good. We're good. So the next note's going to be at 249. So you see, once again, what they're doing is correct, which is basically they always stay out of hammer range and they just shoot you / the rest of your team. Right? Like, if you're vulnerable, they'll shoot you, otherwise they're shooting the rest of your team, and you can't do anything to stop anything that they're doing. And that's why I meant is, like, I would switch off Rein, because I just don't feel like it would do anything. That's another thing to note about Reinhardt is, I think Reinhardt is more easy to counter than some of the other tanks, so I don't like opening him on defense. And so, if I was you as in between Reinhardt and Orisa, I would probably open as Orisa, because, like, what's the worst case scenario? You face a Zarya? You probably can play against a Zarya. I would be surprised if you're like, oh, you see Zarya, you're like, there's no way I can play. But if you see an Orisa, you're like, I'm pretty screwed. Is that? Would you say that's accurate?
No, I agree.
Yeah. So something on defense. Remember, like you have like less of an opportunity to be picking versus on offense, like for that short spawn in like these types of situations. They can keep rotating through heroes as much as they want against you, and it's tough to deal with. So pick heroes that are harder to counter. All right, you're gonna charge in. Wait, actually, I want to know what's going on here. So you're down one. Yari's pops ultimate. She tries to go in. I think correct call to go in here. You've already lost your Widow, so you're down down two already, and you missed Yari ultimate, I think. Yeah, you missed Yari. Now you're down all but one. Yeah, now it's just you. I think you're gonna shatter here. Yep. Obviously, the shatter is never gonna work. It's like a 1-on-5 in this situation. But you're not gonna switch. You're gonna switch off anyway. But I would just die, right, and get 30% more ult charge for Winston. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that's true. I actually would never. I did not think of that.
Yeah, so it's like, what is even the point? Yeah, like this there's 0% chance. Like, even if these are all bronze players, there's no way you're gonna win this in a 5-on-1 with like a third of the team flying in the air, 40% of the team flying in the air. All right, you can come as Winston. I think coming through this doorway is actually pretty dangerous. I probably would have played low ground and then jumped up, but if nobody's gonna contest you, then that's fine, and you can take it. All right, you're just chilling. I can see you looking around, looking for opportunities. You go in. I don't think this is a great dive. I don't think you get deep enough to actually be able to do any damage to the Cassidy, right? You do like 30 damage to him, and now he's just going to stand outside of range. Oh, I guess you go up to like 75. Oh, yeah, now the healing pylon's on him. But enough that it forces him off, which he didn't need to do. But the Mercy's also in the air, so there's no way that the Cassidy ever would have died, and I would have realized that. My goal here is, against Pharmacy, I want to go for the other support. Right? Because the Mercy can't heal the Pharmacy. So in this situation, I kind of like jockey for position, try to take as little damage as I can, and then get an angle to go after the Yari. The problem is Winston is not great at diving down here because of this stupid thing.
Yeah, my initial reaction is like going down there. That Orisa's just gonna spin me away from my team.
Yep.
Get shot by like Cassidy, who just like
Yep, that's fair. But like you could even potentially bait the Cassidy in a little further before you jump in. At the end of the day, I don't think this is a terrible decision what you did. I'm just noting that it was not actually that effective. And if at higher ranks, I think the Cassidy just stands here, right clicks the bubble twice, then comes back forwards instead of dropping low ground, which is unnecessary.
Okay.
So from here, you drop down. So you see the Yari. Ideally, I think you want to be attacking the Yari, but the problem is you're super low. You don't have bubble. You just jump out, which is the correct call. All right, zapping the Orisa, you don't have a lot of options, right? She pops it, you go. And this is one of the tough things is, do you really want to go for Pharah here? Because you've seen her, like, presumably she's going to have boost because you haven't seen her use it. So I think it would be better to jump over here, flip this, and put down bubble, and then walk out the backside of the bubble. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because you're going to jump on the Pharah and basically do nothing, right? Mercy gets zoned, which I don't think you realized. You could have gone for the Mercy. But then when you drop down, you really want to be going for the other support, right? I think a really key thing to playing Pharmacy is always think, where is the other support? Because the other support usually gets very little help from the Mercy. So always be looking for the other support, because she's visible right here on the bottom of your screen, and instead you're going after the Cassidy. Cassidy's pretty tanky. You don't even really want to fight him in a lot of situations, because he can, one right click does 300 damage against you. So it's pretty dangerous. Or right click, roll right click does 600 damage over 1.25 seconds. It's like insane. And even if it doesn't hit them all, that's a lot of damage to do right away. So you should have been going after Yari the whole time. Yari? It's so hard to pronounce her name.
I think it's Ilari, but I don't know it.
I've listened to the trailer, like where she pronounces her name, like 20 times to try to because I have to say her name in reviews, right? So I'm always thinking.
I didn't know there was a trailer.
Yeah, she has a hero trailer. Yari, I think. Yeah, it's tough. Anyway, so your team ends up carrying you through this. Like, you honestly didn't really do a whole lot, but they managed to kill the Mercy, they killed the Orisa. I think you messed up your jump there, but Cassidy dies. Great, we're in reset territory. So we're stable here. You're looking great. Javelin, no problem.
It's actually kind of nice pushing me back at the high ground.
Exactly. You didn't need to waste the jump out of this. So, okay, next one's coming at 422. Orisa's coming to left. If the Orisa goes that way, you can't deal with it anyway. If she walks in there, you don't want to get stuck in a situation where you're standing here, like, trying to put down bubble to, like, fight her. You should just expect your team to, like, kite her or whatever. Like, you can't beat her at close range. She does way too much damage. She does, like, 132 damage, I think, not per second, without headshots. You do 60 damage a second, so she wrecks you even without javelin, without spin. Like, she just wrecks you straight up. All right, you get javelined, no problem. So, this jump is no good, and it could have been really good. So you jump, which is the correct time. It's like, okay, look, the Orisa's coming up. She javelins you, no problem. You're going to go in. This is the right time, right? Orisa comes in. You go past her, go for backline. This is the correct instinct. But the problem is...
I even still have time there to fix it. Like,
correct.
in the air.
Exactly. You're way too shallow. You got to be landing, like, right here, right? And you would do a ton of damage. Because if you actually look at this Mercy, she gets so low. She drops all the way down to 25, right? Right there. She drops down to 20 health. So if you hit her with even a little bit of your jump, she would be dead right now, and that would be a really big play. That would be just like a fight-winning play right there. But the Pharah's dead already, so your team did a good job. Go for the Cassidy, great. Yeah, I think that's the right call. He's low. Excellent, we'll take the kill. You should keep aggressing. After that, I wouldn't even have gone this way. I would have walked down here and kept going for the backline. Because you know that 2 DPS are down and the Orisa went low ground, there's nothing to stop you at this point from just continuing to aggress in the backline. Like, that's the kind of read that, like, when you're in Masters, you will make this read right away. Because you know when you go in, the Pharah's already dead, right? You can see top right, Pharah's already dead. You've gone in, right? You work on the supports, great. That's fine. You drop bubble. I don't know that you needed bubble there. You could just jumped out, but...
Yeah.
Right? Cassie's here.
The problem here is I needed, like, a breather moment to, like, where are the supports, and I don't connect it fast enough for sure.
Yep. So, yeah, so here, I mean, my general advice is just, like, thinking, like, you really have to keep pushing the pace, like, and that's a really good way to carry games, is just understanding, like, let me give you a different scenario. In the Rein versus Rein matchup, it's a ton of it's just about understanding when the other Rein can't be fighting, right? When you understand, obviously there's simple things, like when he's purple, when he's low, when his supports aren't in LOS, but, like, sometimes even when you're squared up, but one Rein just reads faster than the other, that like, hey, look, I can just keep swinging at you because you can't do anything about it. And the other Rein starts trying to swing, and they're like, wait, I'm taking a ton of damage.
Yeah.
And then they hold their shield while you're swinging at them, and then you know you've won the fight. Like, that's what higher level play is like. It's just the tank that realizes I can just keep walking at you because there's nothing you can do. That's like how you carry your games in Diamond really quickly and easily, right?
Let me tell you, Diamond Rein's, if I get the Rein v Rein matchup in Diamonds, it's over. They don't understand it. It's great.
I believe that. So you obviously mess up this jump, but the Orisa dies anyway. Because like the Orisa's just doing like bizarre thing. Like, what is this Orisa doing? Like she like went low ground. And this is a good example where like the enemy Orisa is clearly not paying attention to anything. She has no idea that she has lost 2 DPS and her supports have LOS broken here. So like you see how she keeps walking all the way over here, and she's like, wait, I guess I better go home. And I think you would do a way better job in that situation, just like from a game sense perspective. All right, tap. That's good, right? If they used to go Genji, I'd be thrilled as Winston. I'm like, cool, yeah, go ahead, keep playing Genji.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, especially Pharah was like such a big problem, but they have, I guess, triple hit scan, so that's probably why they switched out Pharah. Yeah, keep zapping, great. I think bubble there is actually okay because you could have been javelin and killed. But yeah, reset. Yep, we're good. So next note's at 5:11. All right, so. Why do you go in here? I bet you go in here because you see the Yari who's going to pop ultimate. Okay?
Yes.
But the thing is, you have 3 seconds left on jump, so you're waiting this out anyway. So for the next 3 seconds, I'm looking to see, hey, what's going to happen here? Do you see what happened in the top right?
Oh, no, I did not.
Yeah. So I saw this during the game, and I'm like, wait, you still have 2 seconds left. I can understand, like, if you were jumping in, like, right when she popped it, totally get it. But right now, I would see this and be like, abort! Like, whatever plan I had, I no longer want to do. Because number one, the Yari did not hit the ultimate, right? Because Orisa spin eats it. Number two is if I take this fight, I know that they're all going to back up around the corner, and I'm going to get shredded because my team can't help me. Because the Baptiste, who sees you go, is going to have to make a hard decision, which is, does he follow you down here, or does he stay high ground expecting you to come back? And I think it's reasonable for the Baptiste to be like, I think you're coming back. Like, I don't want to give up high ground and expose myself. It's even worse if you're running someone like an Ana who can't get back to high ground. Like, the Baptiste is probably like, I'd rather stay here, quite frankly, but you're going to force this, right, long after the Yari ultimate has been wasted. Now you go in, and you land the corner, and then you're like, wait, nothing is going to happen. And you see, they realize that you've made a mistake. Like, if you look at their body language and positioning,
yeah, exactly.
The second you go in, they're like, oh, hello.
Headlights.
And they're all just start running at you because they're like, wait, you're going to die now. Like, they're going to force something out of you because the Yari, like, ultimate, if it landed, yeah, you go in, like, maybe you pop something and they all chain die. But without that, you have no advantage here, right? You force bubble just to keep yourself alive and you jump out. I think that I would have tried to not bubble here and just jump out to be able to keep bubble for high ground. Especially understanding that I've lost a lot of momentum here by messing up my jump. But it is a little bit of risk, like, hey, could I have gone javelin? So you could have, like, juked here a little bit and then gone to the left side of the car and then jumped out.
I mean, I have primal, so I can probably risk that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. Just noting that I personally would have taken that risk. So I definitely wouldn't have jumped here because this spot continually puts me in LOS of the enemy. And, like, I don't really want to be fighting right now. You know what? I want to reset the fight. I want to come back. So the Genji's going to go in. I'm also going to note that I would also be tracking. Genji's got to be pretty close to Blade because he's been out for a while. So I'd want to be with my team to try to slow him down and work him down while he's blading. All right, your team pops Visor. You're going to go in. You jump into the supports. Okay, you saw the pylon, I think. Did you actually kill the pylon? You did not, but it's being blocked by the bubble. But either way, the Orisa dies. Great. So despite like your missed jump, which you still didn't die for, right? It's good that you, I think, maybe even part of you mentally recognize that you did something wrong. Because when you jumped in, you didn't even commit to the jump, right? After the Yari pops up. Because like you didn't even do a full jump. It looks like you hit the brakes in the air when you're like, wait, this is not going to work. So subconsciously you realize this is not going to work and you backed out. All right, so your team ends up still being fine. Okay, so for the next phase, we're coming out. And you notice that you're far out to the left here, but why are you playing this far out?
There's no good reason. I have ults. I don't need to farm.
Exactly. You have ult, and you don't trade well in poke wars. Like, virtually any hero that comes out of this door is going to trade better on you than you will on them. and you already have your ultimate, so you don't even need the poke damage. Your damage is not going to lead to a kill. It's not like, oh, zap somebody and somebody might burst them down. Like, they're literally not hittable from here. It's not worth it to do this at all. I think you should just play main, which is where you were like regular, like on top of the bridge, and just chill here. Especially knowing that Genji Blade is coming, because you can stop Genji Blade with primal, right? Your team doesn't have a defensive ultimate because you're not running a Zen, you're not running a Lucio. So if you can use your primal and trade it for stopping a blade, I would take it. 100% take it. So you're going to jump here instead, but you realize right away this is a mistake. Like, you stay there for like literally not even 1 second before you drop. So that's a bad wasted jump. And then that puts you, I think, out of position pretty soon for the Genji Blade. Oh, you're going to jump again? So this jump I think is okay. You're getting a javelin. I think if you're going to jump there, you're going to put bubble. This is tough. Without Blade, I think it was the right call. With Blade, I think you should just chill on high ground.
Okay.
Go ahead. What was your question?
So this poke phase, this like neutral phase, as Winston, should I just be? I feel like it looks like I'm trying to like, you know, poke, be aggressive, be annoying. Should I just be chilling on high ground, waiting for them to make moves?
Yep. So this is, you play any sports by any chance? Like basketball, football, anything? Or watching any of them?
Not in a long time.
Okay. But if you imagine playing defense is like, you know, in like a basketball or soccer game or whatever it is, where your team has the ball, you're up in the score, and it's the very end of the game. If the other team doesn't do anything, I'm just going to hold on to the ball, right? That's what defense is like in Overwatch. If I don't have to farm ultimates, if I don't have to like jockey for position, if I'm already in like the best possible defensive position, I'm not going to do anything. I don't want to take any risks. Even as Winston, I know it can feel very unusual, but the Genji does not want to dive if you're just standing right here with his team, because he knows as soon as he dives, he's on the clock with you, right? You're going to kill him in 3 seconds no matter what, even faster if you land a jump on him, and Primal's a possibility. But if you go out, and he looks at this and he's like, oh, I can Blade now, because like, what's going to stop me at this point? The Genji's not going to kill me, the Baptiste's going to kill me, right? Echo might get me, but like besides that, like he has an opportunity right here. So, and it's really hard, I know, to just like be passive, but honestly, you can just even sit behind this and just be like, cool, just wait, because they're going to push, you know what I mean? Like, wait 5 to 10 seconds, there's going to be an opening somewhere. If they all deathball, like 5 people deathball and try to go down, I just wait for them to get like right under me and I drop in the back line. You know?
Yep.
It's the same concept on Gibraltar too, on the first point defense, where if you play high ground and you know you repulse multiple attacks on high ground, and they're like, screw it, we're just gonna move the cart through the choke, like through the underneath, just let them, right? And when they come out the other side, you can either go after the back line, but if they manage to rotate together, they go out the other side, they're eventually gonna have to come get you. Just sit high ground and just keep zapping them, right? Help your team out, and eventually you'll be able to kill somebody. So they're gonna pop, they're gonna use all their buttons, and you know, you do a good job blocking this, but it's just irrelevant. I realize already right now that this is pretty much over. You go on the Yari. You can't quite get the kill. Yeah, you can't quite kill the Yari. I think you could have with better mechanics here. Like, this is like an easy kill. You should have just jumped like right behind her and landed slightly short, but you see how you kind of lose track of her and you bump and you're like, wait, what the heck? And you miss her. I think it even looks like you tried to do a melee, but then she's over there. Now, you pop Primal. Good Primal, bad Primal.
I think it's bad, but I think I feel like I got forced to Primal because I got low health or something.
That is correct. So let's imagine, let's forget how we got there. Obviously, you know, it's bad that we got this low, but let's imagine you're here, you're down to 250. Is this the right call to Primal in this situation?
No, absolutely not.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's I didn't track the state of the fight well. I mean, obviously.
Yep, exactly. And that's going to happen to everybody, right? But like a big thing that's going to distinguish you from like Masters players is they're just better at tracking the fight situation. Right? Like there's a part of me that like literally after I started going in, as soon as Cassidy got knocked off, I would have just left. Because I don't want to feed them another 650 health worth of ult charge, and I know I'm never going to kill anybody. Once the Cassidy gets out of the corner, there's the Yari and the Mercy to heal him. I literally can't, like mathematically, cannot do enough damage to kill this Cassidy. Yeah. So I would just leave. But
go in.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah. So now we just need to reset. I mean, this is a benefit replay review, right? We can pause, we can look, it's calm. You don't have to worry about mechanics. So you're getting ready for the next phase of the fight, which is good. You're charging, looking for the Mercy. So, is this the right position for you to be in?
No. Because if the McCree was here, I'd say yes. But since he's not, no.
Right. So the thing is, you can't do anything against the Pharaoh and the Mercy, right? Like you can only do something if they make a huge mistake and just like drop way too low for way too long. Again, your priority should be, look, how do I get on top of the Yari and go after her? And the thing is, you're also going too early, right? There's a lot of time left on the card. Like this card is like a good 10 plus seconds away from capping. I want to just burn out the time as much as I can. I think it's still okay to jockey for space over here, but the problem is, like, you don't have a lot of help with you, and forcing bubble out right now is extra bad. If anything in this situation, I would have now... Do you have jump? You do have jump. Yeah, I would have now, like, as soon as the Pharaoh started, like, attacking me, jump on the Yari, put down bubble, and then zap this out. Am I going to kill her? Definitely not. But at minimum, I want to force the Mercy to start healing her, and everyone to focus the bubble down and break the bubble. The problem is this bubble gets no value. You see that? Like, it protects you from, like, one rocket, and the Pharaoh's like, cool, now I'm going to go kill your team. Right? That's the real problem here. You zap the Mercy. Still trying to zap the Mercy. You jump in to block the cart. You're on the cart. You go for the Cassie. I mean, he's the only target really got. Unfortunately, the Orisa's going to walk in, and then things are just going to get worse from here. And we're going to die. So let's back up. Yeah, so 631, my notes here is don't go for fair. Don't go for pharmacy, go for the other support. But, like, you could have come up here, like, maybe even snuck up here and be like, oh, cool. As soon as the Pharaoh's like, oh, shoot, she's going to attack me, I would just jump forwards and then zap the Yari and then pop bubble and then bot time that way. But, like, honestly, without primal here, you're in trouble, right? Because you already lost 2, your team is staggered. It's going to be very hard to win this fight under any case scenario.
I think part of this is also, I feel like they're in such a weird position, the McCree and the Lari, like
being so far forward?
Yeah, being so far forward like that. I guess,
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I mean, they're moving forward because there's nobody in front of them that they feel like can contest them. And one of the things is, like, even if you just chill back here, the Yari might have, like, sat behind cart and been, like, a lot more worried about just stepping out in the open. Because over here, if you jump on top of her, put bubble, and Genji dashes in, she might instantly die before the Mercy can save her, is one thing to think about. But the Genji here, also note, is... Genji, one trick. Genji's looking for an opportunity, right? Genji's want to go. Every Genji who has ever played Genji wants to dash somebody, a squishy, and kill them. Because you aren't going on anybody, this Genji does nothing. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a poke hero right now, which is like 25% of his kit. He wants to use his whole kit by dashing in and getting a kill. But because he doesn't have bubble and he doesn't have you to distract, all he can do is just stand here and just poke and deflect. See? Like, he can't do it. Like, he wants to do something right now. Like, the Yari is, like, pretty far forward, but he knows if he goes solo right now, he's not going to get anything done. Does that make sense? Like, your DPS have no synergy with you right now. See, now he dashes because, like, the Yari's, like, way out of position. But the problem is, the Orisa's already in your back line. Like, positions have already given up. You have to stand on the cart right now, or otherwise it caps. You know, and it's all over from here. So that's another thing to think about. It's like, again, what do my... I think this is pretty advanced. I'd say this is, like, mid to high masters, so I think start thinking about this. What do my DPS need out of me? Right? And, you know, if they're like an Ashe or a Widow, they don't need necessarily a lot from you. But if they're playing like a Genji or a Tracer, they need you to do something. And even if you're like, hey, this jump's not going to get a ton of value, but I won't die, it could create an opening for them to do something. It's a very important thing to think about.
Okay.
All right. So, dead here. You can go back to Winston. Go up. I don't love Winston for this point because they're very long sight lines and it's a lot of open space, and high ground is not super relevant here. It's also really hard to get healed here when you're on high ground from a lot of angles. I don't think it's not playable. I just don't recall playing Winston like on defense on this point ever. The funny thing is, when I do this and start zapping, I immediately go for the Mercy. I know the Pharah is not going to die. Of 100 health, she's never going to die in this situation. I would immediately start targeting the Mercy. Is the Mercy going to die? She's not. But she's going to leave the Pharah, right? As soon as I start zapping here, zap, 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 right? And then I look at it and be like, hey, look, what's down here? Great. I don't want to follow her. I just walk back in. I think it's a better value than going after the Pharah in a lot of situations. Because remember that even if you don't kill the Mercy, other DPS or supports in your team can often kill the Mercy that you've already damaged. Very important note. Alright, still chilling here. We jump up top. Yep, going after Mercy, good. Right, drop back down. Okay, this is all fine. Going back up here. Right. One thing to note is right here, I would have followed the Pharah because you saw that the LOS is broken. I knew that right away when you went up. Zap, 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 zap. Okay, I see the Mercy's not here. I follow the Pharah in right now, and I put down bubble. If Mercy gets to her in time, so be it. Right, then I'll leave. But otherwise. So Cassidy kills 2 here, and then you get kidnapped and die. But like, this is a tough thing about playing Winston here, is like, you see it, you're not actually getting a ton of value out of your dives. Versus on second point, you were. Right? You consistently force the backline backwards, but right now the Orisa and Cassidy are just murdering your team by just walking into them because they have no frontline brawl. And unlike on second point where they could use the high ground to protect them, on this point they don't have that luxury because they're all just kind of spread out on low ground. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So like as Winston, it's just like tough here to get enough value relative to what the Orisa's getting for her team. So you can go Zarya here. I think Zarya is a good switch. The problem is you don't have enough time left to switch, because you're already in final fight territory, and Zarya's not great in that situation, right? Because you're not gonna have time to get energy. By the time you get full energy, you'll have no bubbles, and they'll walk over you and die. Versus on Winston, you died with 73% ult charge. I would have held Winston here to get primal, right? I think there's a better chance that I win the next fight with primal than I do with a 0 energy, 0 ult, or 30% ult Zarya. And I think we're basically going to see that. I would basically never walk out in the open like this. I think you should always try to stay near cover as Zarya. I think as all heroes, but as Zarya in particular, you'd be surprised at how quickly you get killed at higher ranks. Like if you just walk in the open like that, everyone will target you and actually focus you down really fast. And there'll be like some ultimate you don't think of, like Cassidy High Noon, and then it'll kill you. But you need to clear this spot right here. And this is what I'm saying, you shouldn't have walked out in the open. So look how you walking out in the open doesn't do anything. Does it stop the cart from moving? Does it stop anyone from doing any damage? No, right? They just keep walking forwards. Because you see how you're just like stuck in no man's land. Versus, if you went right and cleared this spot first. Zarya is like a close range brawler for the most part, right? Her beam only goes 15 meters. Clear this Cassidy first. Force the Mercy back. Force the Pharah back, or force attention, or something like that. Then go and engage the cart at the last possible second. We don't care if the cart's here or here. We care about winning the fight.
He's like free too, where he is.
Exactly, right? See, the Cassie's like, he's tying up 2 heroes right now on your side, right? He kills the Yari, and now you're just get left alone and die. So the path that you take on Zarya is so important to give yourself value. All right, questions about the defense phase?
No, that was good.
Okay, so we're gonna start as Rein on offense. I wouldn't do this because I would expect the enemy tank to be playing Orisa. As a general rule, I would expect enemy tanks to maintain whatever hero that was working for them, right? If they switch to one hero at the end of the game, like if they switched to Orisa at the end of the game after playing Rein all game, and then it like clearly wasn't working, then maybe I expect them to go back to Rein. But in this game, I would expect it to go to Orisa, and as already mentioned, you don't want to play Rein against Orisa. Alright, we can go up here. I don't think anything really interesting happens for a while. That's a good example of a fire strike that you really need to land. Like, the Orisa's right in front of you. At a minimum, force out spin in this situation, but this fire strike is pretty far off. Alright, try to push left pull. I think this is, fine. Missing that one's okay. Like, I don't mind. I think you could have done a better job of tracking her because she's very clearly moving to the left. And I think that's something that you have trouble with. You have trouble tracking people at close range, even if they're moving in a straight line. Like, you see how she's moving to the right? If you just keep the crosshair on her, like, and then snap slightly as she's moving, you hit that. But it's definitely a skill. Yeah, keep advancing. But nope, there's a Pharah. And now we run into the problem of, like, what do you do as Reinhardt? Like, on the enemy team, who do you push? You can't push the Orisa. You literally can't push the Pharmacy. The Yari is always going to be super far away, as is the Widow.
Mm-hmm. I think I put the note for this game as, how do I find openings against Orisa, like Pharmacy? The answer is no.
Yeah, like as Reinhardt, you literally can't interact with these heroes. And that's basically what the next 3.5 minutes of this game is this.
I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm like doing weird stuff like this.
Yeah, and it's like, right, because the Orisa's so confident, like she doesn't even need your supports, right? She's like, I know I'm gonna, like, you're not gonna win this fight, right? She's already forced that lamp, now she uses Fortify, she's still walking into you, like you have a Baptiste on you and she's still walking into you. That's when you know, like, this is not working out. Right, and then you're gonna die, and then we're gonna grow, and we're gonna run the exact same thing all over again. Right, Widow's gotten the kill already. Right, the thing is, one thing you do have going for you is that you can try to farm ultimate, but the Orisa's way ahead of you in ultimate, but your ultimate's still much better. You lose 2. Yeah, you chill, right call, regroup.
I wonder if going like far left and charging into the big pack room would have been an idea.
So I think it's a gimmick. It can work. It can work, but like, why would you do this? I would not gamble my entire game on like on a gimmick. Because there's so many things that can go wrong there. Like, yeah, the enemy team might get like super distracted, chaotic, and like maybe we win. It's better than trying to do this, I suppose. But I think your better option is simply to switch to either Orisa or to switch Winston here, which I think Winston is viable.
Oh yeah? Well, how would you play this as Winston?
So, great question. So, Winston here, one thing to note is their team is actually a surprisingly low damage team because they're running the Yari, the Mercy, and the Widow. Those 3 heroes do effectively no damage to me. The Pharah does decent damage, but she can't deal with bubbles very well because she has an ability to burst them down or get into the bubble very quickly. Right? Plus, she doesn't want to get close enough that you can zap her. So the Orisa is like also does like decent damage, but she doesn't deal with bubbles well either. So when I do play Winston on this point, which does happen sometimes, like for example, they play like Symmetra, like Ball, Widow, right? That's a good example where I would be like, oh, I don't want to play Ramattra or Orisa here. I just go Winston, right? Because they don't have any front line to stop me, and they don't have any damage to stop me. So then I play Winston. As Winston, go ahead.
Probably just gonna be what you're gonna say, but I think the problem I have with Winston, the reason I don't pick him is I feel like I take too much damage trying to get underneath this bridge.
Yep, exactly.
You have no sightline from going over the subway.
Yep, exactly. So what I say for Winston here is that you have to stage, right? Staging being the first jump before you do the actual commitment. So for here, you want to get over here, and then from here, well, I would say number one, you need to scout and figure out where they're playing. Like once you understand, like, hey, what heroes they are and where they're likely playing, then you're good. From here, you do your second jump over the top. It is a blind jump, which is true, but it's a risk worth taking if you don't think you can get bursted down, right? Against this lineup, I guarantee you there is nowhere you could jump over here where you would die instantly. As long as you don't land low ground, it is impossible, mathematically impossible for them to kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
You jump here, you jump over the top, and then from here, zap, 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 like you bubble down, right? The Pharah's probably not going to mess with you, right? She's probably going to conk out and just try to shoot the bubble. The Yari's not going to mess with you. The Widow might try to kill someone, but like she's at the risk of you just falling onto her, so she'll probably leave. Mercy's going to leave. The Orisa's probably going to run up the stairs and try to deal with you. Great. From there, you can then jump over here, right? Or over here, or like wherever your team ends up setting up next, and you keep moving forwards. You standing here zapping them forces them back, creates space for your team to advance. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. So I wouldn't open as Winston here because, like, again, I think it is relatively easy to counter. But they're on defense, right? They can't switch heroes. Whatever they got, that's what they got to play with. I only need to win one fight typically to win this point. So whatever, we'll take it. But honestly, the rest of this is kind of a disaster.
Yeah, we can move on. Honestly.
I will note. Okay, so I'll just go through the rest of my notes real quickly. I do note right here. I want you to have better awareness for your teammates. So you have 2 DPS here who are both extremely low. You're going to walk up and you'll have the opportunity to shield them. Right? You have the opportunity to shield like right there, especially if you shield and just like turn sideways so it gets in front of her to save her life. But your Ashes over here is still super low. And just something to think about is like when you are not getting enough value, understand where your DPS are and like can I shield to get value, especially in the Widow versus Widow matchup where occasionally when I played Widow, I know how this feels. It is very unpleasant to be playing Widow versus Widow when they have a Rein who knows when to shield. Right? Because they can just stand in the open whatever angle they want and kill you.
Yep.
One last note.
I don't do any of that here at all, so
yeah, exactly.
That's something to think about.
One last note, 12, 23. So you're going to miss this charge, which is really unfortunate. But even right here, it has to be a 100% kill.
Yeah. I feel like to be fair, I think this is more of an anomaly. I feel like 90% of the time I hit this. Man, you planned this back for me. I remember that. Oh.
Yeah. Obviously, it makes no impact on the actual fight, but like,
yeah,
you missed a bunch of those. All right, so let's look at Havana because I think Havana actually has a lot of interesting stuff happening on both sides. We do have. Wow, we burned through a lot of time.
Yeah.
We have 10 minutes. So how do you want me to do it? You want to keep going? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wrap up this game.
So, sloppy jump position, struggles against Sombra ball, felt very winnable. 0-45. All right. So the biggest theme here is you got to stop paying attention to the ball. Right. So ball's going to come in. Are you going to zap? Okay, this is fine, right? Obviously, you don't want to be jumping like way the heck down here. This is fine. You want to get free damage on him? Great. Go ahead. Right, he wants to slam. That's fine, right? I would have kept zapping him because I would understand the card's still really far away. Right, the wall's here. Great, I turn. I just keep zapping him. Cool. Like this time. See, like that's opportunity. You could have gotten another 100 damage easily on him right now. Which, by the way, would have killed him, but he's gonna die anyway. This ball is so bad, by the way. He dies so many times in this game, like in ridiculous ways. Like, what is he doing?
That's what hurts more, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you never know. Like, the game might be trying to balance. Like, they might be, a rank or two below you, and then the rest of the team is a little higher, but it is what it is. So you're gonna jump in here. This is fine, right? You put bubble down. One thing to note is you don't need to put bubble down instantly when you go in. So you're at 462 right now. They have a Widow. They don't have really good damage. I think you can walk with them a bit, right, to here, and then put down bubble when you're at like 350, especially with the Lucio. Because you see how you get scared of following because you don't want to leave the bubble, but your team realizes, wait, we can just walk through the bubble and go after them.
Yeah.
That's generally a bad sign.
That's embarrassing for sure.
When your 200 health teammates are like chasing down the enemy, but you're not because you're standing in a bubble, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a really good tip. I think it was from Boger or something that saying that at the highest levels of GM like Winston play, they know not to put bubbles down early, but they don't put them down late, right? Because lots of things could still kill you, but they don't put them down early because putting it down early immediately when you go in like really limits your possibilities for how the fight's going to play out. Because they can be like, oh, if people put down bubble early when you jump in, they always walk like 5 meters back and then they fight you, right? Or like 10 meters back just to get out of range. But if you keep chasing them and they don't shoot you because they're expecting you to put bubble down and stop chasing, then you can keep chasing them.
Yeah, I heard you say that in some other video, and
yeah,
it's surprisingly a hard habit to kick.
Yeah. It's especially common against soldiers, because soldiers, you jump them and they immediately run out of your zap range, put down Tesla or a healing station, and then start shooting you. But if you keep chasing them, it confuses them, and they're like, wait, and then they put down healing station, but now you can put down bubble, and you can bubble dance, and like burn them down, and it can scare them into having to run or die. All right. Anyway, so you're gonna follow us in. Lucio does a good job, right? Everybody dies in. You know there's a Sombra in the game now. You jump up here. I honestly would have just, after jumping up here, would just walk down here, zapping, try to figure out what the Sombra was. Because you know she's got to be pretty close here, right? So if you're jumping up here to try to get her, like, try to get her, because nothing's going to happen out here, right? You just killed 3, like, the fight's over. But forcing out the Sombra would have been great. So right there, when he slammed, I would have dropped down to zap him. Why? Nothing else is going to happen. I might as well farm ult charge. Farm ult charge, burn down the ball, maybe he dies, whatever. It is what it is. Right, you're not doing anything of value right now, but you could have gotten at least some damage in. This jump I don't do. So I know he's going for your Ana, but like,
yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, it's like not really your job, Like your Ana's a big girl. She can take care of herself. She has sleep. She has grenade. Like your Lucio can also go and help. I don't want to like overfocus. Does it end up being okay here? It is okay, but like your Sombra could have, for example, like snuck up on somebody and burned them down. And if you're here, you can deal with that. But going back here to chase after a ball that you're literally not going to do anything against, this is a waste of your time. Right? You just want to be in position to deal with whatever the next threat is, especially Sombra. Right? Especially with Sombra in the game, you just always want to play in a central location to be able to jump and deal with whatever's going on. If you're here and the Sombra goes after your Ana, 100%, yeah, go ahead and jump that. Right? Unless there's like something happening right below you, go ahead and help your Ana. But Ball alone, you should never expect Ball to kill any support on their own except for Zenyatta. Zenyatta's probably the only one who's like easily 1v1able by a Ball. So you're still zapping him, and you see that your Mei's gonna die here. Right? Because you're no longer putting any pressure on the front line. And granted, like technically it's like a 4v4, 3v4, right? Because you actually 2v4. Because your 3 are fighting the 1 Ball, and these 4 are fighting your only 2 heroes out here. So your Mei's gonna get caught out, right? Sombra's gonna go for her. She's trying to get away, and she's gonna get beamed here. Again, if you've been playing here, or here, or here, or like anywhere, it never happens. And now that you're down your Mei, your odds of winning this fight are like 25%. Not good.
Yeah, those are the harder things to catch too. I think, like, thinking about your game, and like, or even just like watching the replay. It's like, what happens as a consequence of me just other things I don't do or do. Exactly,
right? It's really hard, and little things can cause a chain reaction, right? I think there's one video where I pointed somebody came out of spawn like 3 or 4 seconds like late because they were AFK, and that messes up the entire first fight because of it.
Yeah.
Like little things can cause
surprising,
crazy butterfly effects. But this is a good example where you put down bubble too early. right? You're full health when you go in. You got to get maximum value here because you already lost one. Like I gotta like really threaten and at a minimum like force out lamp, regen burst, whatever. But like you zap the Baptiste just for a little bit. Like you see how little damage you do, and then you give up. But if you're able to run with him, he drops you down to like 400, 450. Now you put bubble and you keep zapping. And now you're zapping 2, doing 120 damage a second. Like that's good value.
Yeah.
But this, you did almost nothing with this jump. Right? I think one thing that's also tough and that I'm getting used to as well for Yari is knowing that she's going to do the one jump away, whatever, outburst or whatever it's called, when you jump her. Does that make sense? So you need to like factor that in for the jump and potentially like jump behind her, right? Or just note like, hey, she's going to get out of the way, so I have to chase her and then put down bubble, for example. Just noting through the combinations here. Not much you can do about that. I think the only thing that I would note here is I would have jumped deeper into this room. So one thing to think about is when you jump in, I would want to aim for up here high. That way I have the option of going deep in or air braking and landing on her early. Does that make sense? Because you jump in.
Hard jump, but yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
you tag the top and now you land too early. If you landed on here and got the extra, it's not gonna matter. She still has 100 health. Yeah, but just noting, try to get in there a little deeper.
Yeah.
Very small mechanical difference. But at this point, this fight's over. Like if you want to go in for this, it's fine, but I think the odds of you winning is very low. But yeah, I'm zapping. You're just farming all charges. It's fine. I think the issue here is, especially after they got on Reaper now, I think the issue here is you really want to... Wait 1 second. I'm going to go down my notes. You really want to be able to regroup your team. And if you die too late, that can be a problem. The problem is your supports are also out here, but I think you had the option of just literally leaving. Like right now, zap the ball. I think at this point in time, if I were you, I would have just been like, hey, like you just spam group up and just walk back here. Because you're not going to win this fight right now. And you can just kind of hope your Lucio gets away. I mean, it's tough. Actually, with Sombra, he probably dies here, which is unfortunate.
Do I ever do that in like any of my games? It's like specific off the top of your head or anything, but
just to regroup?
I don't.
Off the top of my head,
just like recognize these like situations ever, and just be like, oh, this like I have time. Just take the next fight.
Yep, that's good. That's a good point. I think one thing that goes on, it's a good point. It makes me think of like through my own head. Like I think I have an internal playbook of if it's a 5-on-5, what do I do? If it's a 5v4, if it's a 5v3, and also if it's a 4v5, if it's a 3v5, what do I do on my specific hero in a specific situation? I think I'm like a lot quicker to be like, look, this is not going to get me good value. I need to reset because this is an important situation to be resetting. I think it actually ends up working out here okay-ish, but so you put bubble down right now. So one thing to think about right now, and I have it down in my notes, is this is actually a big primal moment, right? Actually, yeah. I want to back up here for a second. So you're gonna, do you not die here? Yeah, you don't die right here. You're gonna die soon though.
And when the Reaper comes up.
Yeah, when the Reaper comes up, you see the teleport. So she has just shy of 50 health. Okay, the Baptiste is just waking up right now. I think it's reasonable to pop primal and go for the kill. I think that would be a huge turnaround play, and I think there's basically zero risk of you dying, right? You get the primal off or not, but
I think my recollection, I think I do pop primal, but it's like you know when you see it, like you hear the sound effect and you just die.
Yep. I know exactly what you mean.
I think it was in my head, but just too slow.
But now your team has to fight 4v3. The ball has died again. I have no freaking clue what the ball was doing this game. Like, what is this slam?
Look at him go.
To be fair, there's also a May in the game, which makes it harder, but like this ball is like adding no value. Alright, so you're gonna come back. You do have primal. Should be an easy win from here. Let me see what my notes were. Okay. Yeah, we're fine. Yep. So you could use zap, right? Great, Reaper's dead. Right? Our Q2 already dead, should be easy cleanup from here. Yep, zap in. Yeah, this is just cleanup. Ball's in the back, whatever. Yeah, he's not gonna do anything. You're gonna mess up this jump, I knew. I'm sure you did. When we did that, I'm like, I bet you did that for me.
I yes, but also I do that a lot to like shake it off.
Yeah, I do that too. I feel like everyone does that. Okay, so now is a great moment to talk about Sombra and dealing with Sombra as a tank. And I think what tanks really hate about DPS and supports are the ones that force you to change your playstyle the most. And Sombra is a really good example of that, because Sombra is sneaky, and as a tank, a huge part about your game is information, right? You look at what's going on, you make a decision. But Sombra could be anywhere, so it's really hard to make decisions about someone where you don't know where they are. But it's even harder when they're not like actively on your mind, right? And Sombra is very, very tricky in that way, even if you know where she could physically be. So the biggest tips I have against Sombra are play safer than you normally would. Because as long as the Sombra isn't uncloaking, you are in a 5v4 situation. The Sombra is the one who is like on the clock to do something. So don't go for maximum value. Go for like 1, maybe even 2 tiers of value below that. That way you don't die. Always play in positions where if you get EMP'd or hacked, you can't get bursted down and killed. And this is going to be a really good example, because it's been 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Everyone should have had ultimate right now, right? You should assume that. So you know the Sombra should have ultimate. You should know Baptiste have ultimate, because neither one have popped it. You're going to go into this room. This room is already a bad news bears, right? Like, this is a dangerous room to be in.
Yeah.
Like, as a Winston, like, you can also kill people in here with primal, but like, in general, I'm not going to this room unless I have to go into this room. I know your May's going in there, but like, I want to play this slow, you know? Like, I want to be careful here. I definitely don't want to be jumping all the way to the other end of the room. If I'm doing this, like, I'm jumping to like here and zapping, and I have cover from this side, put down bubble if I need to, like, whatever I gotta do. But you go like hella deep, and then you're gonna wake up, you go in, so your team's gotten killed in the Baptiste, and then the EMP is gonna go off. And this is what I mean, where like, you didn't need to do this, right? Once this is done, at this point in time, you can be like, look, put down bubble, right? And what's gonna, the real problem here is that you keep walking forwards. So you see how much damage the Reaper's gonna do to you before you're able to get away? You lose half of your health trying to challenge the Reaper unnecessarily. So I'll show you from your perspective. So this is all fine, right? Kill the Baptiste, put down bubble right now, that way it's in the doorway. And just chill, right? You already have ultimate, you already got a pick, the fight's over, as long as you don't mess anything up. But you walk so far forward, you jump into his face, you take big shots, you're at 320 health, which means when EMT gets popped, now you have no way of surviving in time to pop primal, right? If you took even one less shot, you could have gotten primal off.
Yeah. Damn.
Like, it's so close there.
Look at me go.
Yeah. And if you get primal here, because you're actually body blocking for Lucio pretty well, right? If you get primal here and don't die, and you just hit the Sombra, the Lucio might have lived here to pop beat. If he was really good, he could have dropped this way, popped beat, and went back onto the cabinet and popped it like immediately. But just noting, like, that little mistake of like, hey, you got a little too greedy, right? This is all fine, right? Baptiste's out of position, he's walled off, I understand, right? We're good. Pop bubble right now. Pop bubble right now so your Lucio doesn't die, and just stay in the bubble. But walking forwards, getting super low, EMP'd, and your advantage is lost. I also have a note here that you are clearly outplaying the ball. Like, you're literally giving like 2 to 3 times as much value as the ball. If you just play safe, you're gonna win this game, because the ball is not good. And this should be like a fairly easy win overall. Like, you're on track to like a full hole in first point. All right, we're gonna come back to first point. The issue here is we're down a DPS at a minimum, I think. Yeah, we're down both DPS, right? One's just respawned and one is still respawning. So there's not a whole lot we can do. What's my goal here? Like, what's the plan?
Support.
That is not correct. That's not what I should be doing right now. What should I be doing?
I'm sorry, I zoned out for like 2 seconds.
So we're missing 2 DPS, right? One DPS just spawned, the other one's respawning. Cart's moving. What's my goal right now?
Oh, just play slow.
Play slow. Play as slow as I humanly can. Because there is no way, unless you're fearless, right, an owl, that you're going to kill all these people with 2 supports. Like, a support in DPS, maybe you can do it, especially like DPS is ultimate, but like, there's like almost no way. You gotta like slow this down crazy. I would already be thinking here is the most likely scenario is I have to wait until the cart like goes all the way to the end, then jump on, put bubble down, zap, then pop primal, and then not even leave the cart. Right? I'm literally just gonna trade my health for time by like knocking them back and like staying behind the cart because I have to get my DPS here. There's no win scenario that doesn't involve my DPS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
even if the Ana pops nano here on me, I can't kill them all. Like, it's just not possible, because if I jump on the people in the cart, everyone just leaves the cart, and if they leave the cart, like, I have to follow them, and then if one person touches the cart, we lose. So it's extraordinarily difficult. There's also Sombra here who can like hack me like while I'm trying to jump. Like, there's no scenario here where I can win this. I need help, and that's okay. And like, sometimes that's gonna happen. I just gotta think. I gotta play time here, right? Stay this corner, right? Do not take damage, right? Zap, like, just kind of keep the ball off me. Jump in at the last possible moment, or like close to the last possible moment. Put bubble, stall, prop primal, stall. Pray my DPS win. Is it likely to win? No. On a 0 to 100% scale, I would say 20%, maybe 25%. I mean, it's not impossible. You have sound barrier, you have nano, right? Like, you might be able to turn it, but doing this, there's no way you win. And now you're going to burn all the resources for like literally a 0. Like, it doesn't matter if you're literally the best Winston player in the world. You cannot kill anyone right now. All right, so looking at notes here. So everything mechanically here is going to be a problem. I have this as a...
I pop bubble early too.
Yeah.
Even get value out of it, it seems like.
Yep. So my note here is like, look, you either need to buy time to DPS or you got to get kills. So if you're going to go in right now, you jump in on the Ana. Bubble is kind of too early. You need to follow the Ana out, right? At this point, you got to follow Ana. You got to keep following her, right? You're nano, like, you have no choice. Like, you have to keep following. You have primal here too. You're nano. Like, you got to keep following. And I think you probably left because you're worried about the cart. But the cart, you should have felt that the cart was like not that close. But if you don't go after the supports, you lose the fight anyway. You just have to trust that somebody's going to touch the cart. And it be like that sometimes. There's plenty of games where I played and like I left the cart to go like try to kill somebody and kill somebody, and then my team blames me for not touching the cart, and I don't bother arguing with them because I think if I did not leave the cart, there was no way we'd win. Like, if you stepped on the cart, maybe we win. Like, I had to leave the cart there to possibly win, because you standing here like doing nothing is not going to win the fight. So, right, you're just kind of sitting here. You go up the Sombra, so you pop primal, and then this is going to be rough.
Oh no.
Right, so you got landed one punch so far. You got landed the second punch. You're aiming at the Reaper for some reason, who's actually like in the corner. Like, what's he gonna do here? You know, like that. It is what it is. I'm surprised. Like, oh, the Baptiste killed her. Now you jump over here. You land short of the Baptiste, which actually puts him on the. You land literally in front of the window. Right, like you easily could have jumped far enough to land on the Baptiste. Now you're over here, and then you're gonna die. But I think this is where like the mechanics gap is obvious, right? Again, a lot of your game sense, very believably that you could beat masters, but when you jump here, like this has got to be like a clean execution. You have to be following the supports out. I'm looking, right, hoping to block sleep dart, put down sleep bubble to block sleep dart when it comes out. Again, tough timing, but like you have no choice. Follow out, follow, burn, right? Okay, you need to pop primal, kill one of them. Right? Then come back, kill the other. Then come back to cart and do whatever I can from there.
Mm-hmm. No, so now we're like winning the fight. So yeah.
Right. It's like you got nano here, and you have primal, and you're gonna get beat here. You gotta kill somebody. You know, like this is 3 ultimates. You gotta kill at least one person with these 3 ultimates. And this is a good general example of even when a lot of things are given to you, like when resources are kind of like pumped into you, you don't get enough done with them to be able to carry games like into masters.
Yep.
All right, so obviously this fight's over. Oh yeah, I wanted to note on the way in. So when you're going here on the 2 supports, right? So you're gonna see the Baptiste, who is going to use regen burst already on the way in. So you should have seen that right there to keep the Ana alive, and then you should see the lamp come out pretty soon after this, right? Lamp comes out now. At a minimum, now that you see lamp come out, you know the Baptiste has no regen burst and he has no lamp. You have to go kill him.
He's dead.
Yeah, like he's got to die. And this is where the jump workshop, primal rage workshop I gave you, like you have to be able to put a bot in the open road, and as you be able to go and kill him in 2 jumps, like. That's got to be like your goal. Like 3 jumps maybe, right? But like 2 jumps for sure you got it, or 3 jumps for sure. 2 jumps is good. If you can kill in 2 jumps, you can do it. Like I can kill people in 2 jumps, and like so that's like low GM right there. But killing in 3 jumps, I think that's what you need for masters. And obviously sometimes you'll get do it faster, if you can like pre-damage them or someone else damages them, or you get them against the wall sooner. But like you got to be able to kill people. But I don't believe that you could kill somebody in 3 jumps consistently right now. Based on
is that 2 jumps to kill? It's like, isn't it 40 for jump pack, 40 for the swing?
50 for landing, 40 per swing.
50 for landing. Okay.
So the safest combination is to jump, land on top of them, then do 1 swing. That is a reliable 90 damage. I think everyone from Platinum up in Winston's can do that combo consistently. But they don't because they get greedy. Most notably, when they jump, they hold down mouse 1, so they swing, so they knock the guy away before they land. So they only do 40 damage and not the 50 jump pack, or they only get some of it because they're flying away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the most reliable combo is don't hit mouse 1, jump onto him, land, mouse 1, jump, land, mouse 1. That's 180 damage right there. Hopefully they die from that, but like if you're soloing them, you got to do the rest now. So then you need to jump one more time and kill them. There is a better way to do it.
Like in the air, right?
Yeah. So there is a way where you jump into them and you do an early swing to tap them like into the ground, land, and then do another swing as they get knocked away. I cannot consistently do this. So you can get to GM5 without having to worry about this at all. But it is possible to be able to get that double hit in. I've tried to do it a few times. I cannot consistently do it, so I don't bother because like I just need consistency in my games. I'm not trying to grind to like top 500. So like if I'm just know, hey, you got 180 health, I'm gonna kill you, no problem. But it is possible to get a double swing in. There is an option, you can still get the single swing in, but get it quicker by landing in and timing it just right, which can be good if you're fighting someone like a Reaper or like a good close range hero, because you want to get them away from you as soon as possible, versus landing and then slowly doing a swing. Starting the swing right when you're about to land is like technically like a little better if you're worried about the damage incoming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, but yes, all the mechanics here are no good and are going to cost you. Though I think the chance of you winning that fight's low. So you're going to switch Orisa at this point in time. I don't think you needed to switch Orisa here. I think so. I would note, I think Winston is the best tank against Sombras because it's really easy to spy check and you can force her to teleport like very, very quickly. Sombras want heroes that can't reliably hit her small hitbox. That way she can stay there and pump like the entire 45 round mag into you. But Winston, you jump into her.
Player?
What's that?
Are you a TF2 player? You said spy check.
Yeah, exactly. I play TF2 competitively. Yeah.
Oh, dude, same. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you can spy check for Sombra super easily, and then you can jump into her. You do 90 damage, right? Plus the melee. If you want to go for that combo for like 120, and then she's like needs to leave, right? And then that's great, and it sends her on her way very, very quickly. The problem with other heroes like your Orisa, if the Sombra stands over here and fights you, like depending on like your aim and a little bit of luck, like you literally might be doing like 30 damage a second to her while she's doing like 130 plus to you. And that's how she farms her EMP. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She just does this like over and over again. Like she translocates, comes right back, does the exact same thing over and over and over again. And as Winston, you don't have to worry about the problem because you just jump in, right away you deal with her. But you do have to worry about getting bursted down. Orisa doesn't have that problem, right? It's very unlikely Sombra's ever going to be able to hack you in a situation where you weren't going to die anyway. Because as long as you survive the hack, you can fortify, spin, etc. You're just very tanky. But I would have been perfectly fine staying Winston here, but if you want to play Orisa, that's fine. I don't think it's wrong. I think mechanically, I have a note here that everything's going to go wrong from here. My notes here are that you overfocus the ball, your javelin accuracy is not good, and you this fight I remember now, and then your fortify is no good. So let's first watch the fight so that we can remind ourselves of what happens here. You're gonna come in, ball's going for your May walls herself off, you're gonna aim your javelin, you miss it, Reaper's on you, you start trying to fight him, you pop fortify, you walk away. This is all okay. It's not like great value, but like, you did all right here. That javelin is bad, right? I think you should recognize here is that when the fight gets very serious, just like Reinhardt with fire strikes, like you probably instinctively save a fire strike when things get kind of crazy so that you can burst somebody down. Same thing for Orisa. Save the javelin right now. You need this javelin to do something important, whether or not it be killing the Reaper to interrupt the teleport or get him before you can wraith out, get insta-kill on the Sombra, helping with the ball, anything. Don't throw this javelin away, because this javelin's not hitting anybody. Like this javelin's like not even close to hitting anyone. Mayote gets popped. Sombra goes out. So you have the opportunity to kill Lamp right now as you walk in. But you see how you wait there? And then the mate walls you off, which is not intentional. I'm thinking she's walling off like support healing. But like you had the opportunity to kill that Lamp for the Mei sooner, because then it does actually die. Oh, what happens to the Lamp? Does it get broken by this? Oh, you do kill it in time. Yeah. But you could have killed the Lamp and started doing damage to the Reaper. See how you're not shooting right now? And then now you suddenly start shooting the Lamp. You could have killed the Lamp by the time we got there. The long and short of it is, this is going to allow the Reaper to live. You see how low he gets? If you've done even a little bit more damage, the Reaper dies here. And because the Reaper doesn't die, he's able to reset, which is going to be bad news for you later. So you go over here, Reaper's going to go in. So, you're at 400 health right now, but otherwise, you're going to be okay, right? This whole time, this is all bad. Like, look at what you're doing with your time right now. In a situation where, hey, you got the Reaper pushing in, you have the Ana pushing in, you have the Baptiste over here, like, you shooting at the ball is not really helping your team, and you're not hitting the ball. Right? Like, literally, you're hitting, like, 1 out of 10 shots on the ball. Which is rough, because if you're going to be spending your time shooting the ball, you have to be burning them down to force resources out. But this is no good. Versus, for example, just dealing with the Reaper. Just poking out the Reaper here, keeping him back, forcing him to Wraith back to a team, that's good value. But aiming at the ball the whole time, the Reaper just shoots you in the back, and then he's just going to walk forwards into your team. See? Because you're not aiming at him, he just keeps walking forwards, right? Reloads. Now he's in position, he walks forwards, and now he's on top of your team. And it's no good. Now you pop this Fortify. This Fortify was unnecessary. The Reaper is not looking at you. Right? He's not looking at you, and you still have most of your health. You also have spin, right? And as I mentioned in a lot of my videos, you should try spinning first before fortifying, like 90-95% of the time. You also could have Javelin him right now. This would be a great Javelin, right? He's just in the range where like Javelin could kill him. One thing I note with Javelin is that you wait until he gets too low. See? But it's so obvious he's going to Wraith now. Right?
I think I for some reason I assumed he had Wraith and he just was going to Wraith. So I'm like, I got to wait till after. But
I mean, in that case, then just keep shooting him the whole way, right? And then don't Javelin him at all. Because at that point, he's literally going to die in like a quarter, half second anyway. Don't even bother Javelining at that point. You might as well just shoot him down. That would be faster. Mm-hmm. So if you think he was right, just keep shooting him and force it out. But I think that trading Javelin for Wraith is a good trade. Does that make sense? Like, if he dodges Javelin with Wraith, I will take that trade. Because Javelin's not a big deal for me, but Wraith is a big deal for him.
Yeah, he can't play aggressively.
Exactly, right? It also shuts down, like, ultimate possibilities usually, right? If he can't Wraith. Mm-hmm. But one thing to note is, if you Javelin, you can't stop ulti as well. But whether or not you knew, like, I think at this point, I think I'd have trouble. I knew he's close to ultimate. I wouldn't know if he had it or not. But I might be thinking about it. But either way, then I wouldn't be throwing the Javelin. But remember what the breakpoints are for damage. Javelin does 100 damage, 60 plus 40 if you hit them into a wall. So that's 100 damage right there. If you're this close to someone, you should be aiming for the head. And if you're aiming for the head, you're going to do Javelin, the Javelin insta-kill without him being able to push any inputs, assuming he's holding down shift for Wraith. I think you could probably insta-kill him from at least 150 health, right? And with the Mei here, you might be able to do it from 200. So at this point, I'd already be thinking about Javelining him because he's definitely insta-kill range. If I don't get it, so be it. It's not the end of the world. I definitely force Wraith out. I'm going to force all the heals. It's fine. But I do not hold Javelin this long. All right. So he gets nanoed. So the second he gets nanoed, you should just spin and just knock him back. Is that what happens? It is not. Right? This is not a good instinct, and this is where I think that your inexperience at Orisa kind of shows compared to like Winston, right? Because I think Winston, you almost always makes the right call, like within half a second of what happened. But right here, the number one play when you saw him going back and gets nanoed, right here, as I'm already thinking, because you have a lot of time to realize what's going to happen, right? He's getting nanoed, and he realizes he's nanoed, he's turning around, I get in front of him, and then I spin him back. Right? And I bump him back, and then I reset the fight. Because you have to prevent him from getting any closer to your team. But you let him get all the way past you, and now you start spinning. But that means that you get surrounded on all sides because you let him by you. So all 4 people are attacking you. Versus if you kept him in front of you, you could have spun him backwards, and just reset and like played cover again. So now you're in big trouble. This is a great moment where Fortify would be huge, but you don't have it because you wasted it earlier. And now they're going to walk over you. Your team does a really good job keeping you alive. The Reaper is still a threat, right? Because he's still nanoed, still attacking you, and then you're going to die. So, recapping there, I think that spending your time shooting the ball was no good, especially if you're going to spend the time shooting the ball. Make sure you hit him. A. B. You had an insta kill possibility in the Reaper, and C. You wasted Fortify, and then D. When he comes back in, your instinct should have been, I need to protect my team from a nanoed Reaper. I need to spin him back, especially because he's no Wraith, so he's no way to get behind you anyway. Questions?
No, that all makes sense, and I know these things, but yeah, it's you said it's like on Winston, you can tell it's like I need instinctually automatically know what to do with Orisa. It's like there's this lag there.
Yep.
And yeah.
I mean, it takes time, it takes experience, right? But like, I think reviewing things like this helps, right? Because we talk through it, and then it makes it more likely, not guaranteed by any means, more likely in the next situation you'd be like, Nailed Reaper, great, I need to disrupt him, right? I need to spin him, I need to javelin him, I need to just step in front of him with Fortify, like whatever, something. Like the instinct can't be shoot him. Because as Orisa, I never think my damage is that high. Unless I can javelin somebody, I never think my damage is particularly high. Like I don't think I can burst people down. So when I see like a nano target, a DPS, I'm thinking not can I kill them before he kills my team. I'm thinking can I stop him from killing my team, which is getting in his way and using my disrupting abilities. All right, so you can get blown up here. Nothing super exciting happens at this point. I don't think it's worth talking like the micro details of how to take the 1v1s. Ball's gonna come in, just doing ball things. It's fine. Alright, so Reaper's teleporting, you're looking for it right away. Good javelin, like perfectly timed javelin. You get walled off, that's unfortunate. Not your fault. You worked on a Reaper. I would have just kept shooting him. I don't think you need the spin there. Your spin, by the way, only does 50 damage a second. 60 damage a second? I think it lasts like a second. It does 100 damage over about 2 seconds, or maybe a second and a half, something like that. So not that high. Your gun does a lot more damage. Your gun does about double the damage that your spin does. So if you can reliably hit a target, it's better to shoot the gun than it is to use the spin. I only use spins when I can't hit them with my gun, like a Genji deflecting, or they're a very small target, like a Symmetra, Tracer, etc., where the spin is reliable damage.
Okay.
But shooting him would have easily killed him by now. So this is not a great space to play. Have you seen my Havana tank video?
I don't think I've seen that one though.
Okay.
But yeah, I recognize this as it happens. I'm like, oh, this feels wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not next to any cover.
Yeah, this is a bad place to fight.
Why am I here?
Exactly. Like you were just way out in front, and then you're like, wait, and then you try to leave, and then this is unfortunate because now you're going to give up a ton of space. But to be fair, like usually this space is not contested until right here. This is fight number 1, and then this ends up being fight number 2, somewhere in this area. But the death there is unnecessary. 6. Okay. Interesting moment right now. Number 1 is try to stay near cover. And it's like really important. Even as Orisa is a tanky hero.
You really caught me in a good, like, this was a great window.
Yeah. So, but this is what Baptistes do, right? Like, this is one of the things I think I had most trouble getting from Masters 1 to GM5 was Baptistes kept killing me. Because it was during the season where I was like one-tricking Ramatra, and I kept getting blown up by Baptistes, like all the time. They would just, the enemy supports would switch Baptiste, and then they would catch your window and kill me. You gotta break this habit of just staying in the open and thinking you're invincible. Like, play this corner right here, it's fine. Right? Like, don't go over here unless you have a strong need to. So now you get caught here. But it's okay. You're still fortified. You got spin coming up. You're not going to die instantly, right? Your fortified cancels out window, so you're taking, like, normal damage. You have the ability to get the cover. And you can come back here. You're going to choose to walk forwards right now. And then you're going to pop ulti. Ulti's going to do nothing. And then, like, this happens, and then you're going to die. So let's roll back. Right? So again, this was a good spot. Oh, first of all, I don't think you want to pop fortify here at all. Right? If you get low, just take cover. Your team does not need you right now. With the cart over here, your team does not need you to step up. Because look back, there's nothing going on back here, right? You got 2 supports fighting a ball in the back line. Both of your DPS are dead, which you should have known in game. Obviously, it's harder for us to track because we're skipping through the replay. But you should have known how many people I got. And this is where the playbook, right, of like 3v5, slow down, right? On defense, super strong defense. This is like one of the best defensive points in the game. Slow down. Like, I want to prevent them from getting to the gate. I don't need to force this fight out here. I don't want to use cooldowns. Right? Spin, okay, spin's cool, short cooldown. But like fortify, no need for me to do this. Just sit here. But now that I am caught out here, I don't need to do this. Right? Like, I'm totally safe if I just sit behind this corner. I'm good. Like, the Baptiste isn't going to walk all the way out here to try to kill me. If he does, I can javelin him, fight it, like, whatever. So be it, right? But I have two supports over here, right? That can save me easily, blow up the Baptiste. Like, I'm good. But you decide to double down on this mistake by going in and then popping ultimate. But this ultimate is bad for lots of reasons. Number one, your supports can't really see you. Number two, your DPS aren't out. Number three is you pull people in, but, well, actually, number three, window, right? You're ulting in front of the window so the Baptiste can shoot you through it. But number four is ulting next to the cart is a bad idea unless you're on top of the cart, because they can break LOS so easily, right? This Ana didn't need to jump. If she just walked here, she would have broken LOS with the cart and she would have been good, right? Also, because you're in a bridge, people can walk off the sides and also be good. But I think you might actually catch him with the damage. Yeah, he should just fall straight down. But either way, like, this is a really tough situation versus if you're on top of the cart and you pull people to you, at least you have a better chance of doing more damage. And then from there, you just kind of get lost. To be fair, you get walled, and then you're going to die. So this is almost a throw. They really should have capped here. I think they don't cap, right? I'm trying to remember. I think they don't cap. I think you managed to hold here. Gold from May. I don't know why your ball's shooting you in the face. Right? Fortify here. I don't know why you throw that javelin. That wall is up well before the javelin goes off. Right? Wall's up now, then you throw the javelin. Right? Yeah, that's fine. That's the only guy left. Yeah. Alright, so
oh, no. I remember what happens.
This is rough aim. Wait, did they cap?
Yep.
Oh, rough. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Alright, I guess they do cap this. Okay.
Oh man, that's so close too.
Yeah. Alright, so no need to cover that part. Okay, so quick note about Havana. So for Havana, I always sit up top, and I sit right here, and I look.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't say very common, but as unusual strats go, Havana is one of the only maps that has an unusual strat that happens in ranked play, which is the close hold Havana strat. And I talk about this in my Havana map guide because it happens enough. Like, most maps play very formulaic at high ranks, right? Owl's a different story. They do all sorts of crazy shit there. But like in ranked play, high ranked play, Havana is like one of the only maps where teams will actually do the close hold on Havana. The reason being, this is a very long road. So if your team all dies here, and all 5 agree to die, like you don't have supports who like are playing here and then the front 3 die and they run back and die and get staggered. If everyone just dies here, you will get another fight at this corner, which is basically where the fight would have been anyway. So it is a legitimate strategy to play close here, especially if your team doesn't have good snipers, right? Like, for example, if I have a Symmetra 1 trick and I was going to use voice comms, which I usually don't anymore, I would call out and be like, look, let's play close hold, right? I would go Reinhardt, I would run over here, right? I'd be like, hey, group up, group up, group up, group up. And I'd crouch and I'd crouch walk all the way over here and play close and get ready to play close. Because it's surprisingly effective on this map. But that's the reason why I sit up here, is because rarely is the whole team so disciplined that they will all come this way versus some will like stand here. Like in the, if I see a support standing here, I know it's a close hold, right? Like that kind of gives it away. Like when I look at the window, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a close hold. But often not everyone will crouch walk it either, and then somebody will make noise. But either way, I would stand up in the windows because I want to know what's the opposing tank, what are the opposing DPS, etc., and get ready. But if we've gotten all the way to here, right? So you see the Ana up there, right? At 5 seconds, then I would go down and get ready. But I would note, if I'd been staying in this window the whole time, right, and I didn't hear anything over here, I don't know if it's quite far enough that you could hear it, I would be very suspicious. Because almost always you're going to see like Widow's, Hanzo's, Ashes like getting ready out here. And having only seen the Ana, I would get nervous. Does that make a big difference? In this particular game, I think the outcome would have been very similar, but I'm just noting that you should know that the close hold strategy exists on Havana because it can mess you up really badly, because if you lose the first fight, it gives the enemy team ult advantage, and then they can pin you in for like literally 2-3 minutes.
Do they do that this game? I feel like they do.
Yes, that's also why I'm reviewing this.
Okay, I think I assumed. But...
So when this grenade goes off, I pop window bubble right away, right? Because I just suddenly took a ton of damage on this door. I want to bubble and be like, what the heck is going on? And this is where, like, I think just having played potentially more competitive hours while we're watching you, I just know right now, the first thing I think of is, this is a close hold. Because something weird is going on to be taking this much damage coming out this door. Like, I also hear and see the Lifeweaver shots, like, from the angle. I think I pop bubble right away, and then immediately jump up. So I think you're just a little bit too slow here, recognizing what's going on. You jump up here, but the problem is, like, now this is no good. Like, they realize they can hunt you down, which is going to be what's going to happen, and they're going to kill you. So, this gives a soldier 30% ult charge off the very beginning, which is rough, because now you're going to deal with that visor later. But just noting, like, you could have had some idea this was coming, and if you had an idea this was coming, by the way, just don't go out that door, right? Just go out, like, this door, or go out this door, right? Or like ping the danger symbol or something at that door, whatever it ends up being. Like, you have a lot of options. Just don't default out that door, and you're good. And this doesn't play out the way it does. So now that you are in this situation, now you have to get ready to deal with the close hold, right? And this is actually unusual. You almost always close hold is done with brawl, right? A Rein, Orisa, sometimes maybe a Zarya. It is very weird for them to be playing it with a ball, but so be it. Like, this general strategy is still the same, which is go out of different doors, look for isolated people, and then go after them. So going after the ball here is, like, not a great use of your time, and you realize that right away. You want to get a situation where I can look for an opportunity to go after the supports, right? Supports, DPS, whatever it may be. But I need to make sure my team is ready to come out with me. My Junkrat's dead right now, so I want to kind of probably be a little safe before I come out. Genji nearly dies there. And now grenade's used. So when I see all this, I just chill. Because the problem is I've used an important healing grenade, right? Anti-grenade's been used, and my Genji doesn't have deflect, and he needs to get healed. So I probably just take time, like, look, I'm just gonna walk out this way and just walk up to the cart while taking, like, in, like, exactly what is going on out here, versus forcing my way out this door repeatedly, constantly feeding them ult charge. The soldier's already at 48% ulti, which is nuts, because everyone keeps going out the same door. You could have gotten here just by walking out the right side door without being forced to use jump and not losing 200 health. Yep, Genji's good. It's good. I like that right click charge. So, I probably would have zapped instinctively as soon as I saw people shooting. But yep, start moving the cart and you start going.
Usually I stage here, try and get to the high ground.
I think this is okay. I don't like staging there because A, I think it's a somewhat unreliable jump. Like, you kind of need to land it. But B, I think it's hard to jump out of because you have to walk really far out to make sure you don't clip the top.
I think I clipped that lamppost like all the time.
So that's why I would probably just jump here, right, and just get in and then zap and then get ready from here. Especially knowing that they don't have any close range, I think I would just stage in the left room, right? Because now you're, like, still pretty far away. Like, the LOS is still there. I think this is okay. It looked like you were trying to actually go high ground, but I think
I hit something. I don't know.
Oh, let's take a.
It definitely was. I would say. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. It looks like you just land short. Anyway, it's still fine. I mean, this position's actually okay too. Yeah. You don't need to be on high ground necessarily because you're forcing them back just by your positioning, which is good. All right, we're good here. Team's moving up. Anti's used. Excellent. I'm thrilled that this happened. If this happened, I'm like, great. That's one less thing she can use to anti me, but one less thing she can use to heal herself, which is very important.
Sleep in like a second too.
Yeah. Yeah. So sleep's used. Okay, but the problem is you now have to deal with Sombra, right? Zap her out. That's fine.
Yeah.
I understand using bubble there because you actually get pretty low. I would have liked to have held it, but like you got pretty low, so I think it was the right call to use bubble. So now, the thing is, after you force the Sombra out, right? Here, I immediately reload, right, and look at them because I want to dive them as soon as possible because you know the Ana doesn't have sleep and she doesn't have grenade. So I'm hoping that my team will heal me right now and I can go right away. Unfortunately, yeah.
I think I'm standing X and then you see I'm like, what's going on over there?
Yeah. So negative charge, go. I think going for Lifeweaver is fine. Yep. Okay. This is weird. I don't really know exactly what happens here. So you land sort of in the middle of two of them, but not enough that you actually get good damage in. Because you see, let's actually look at how much damage you do. I think you do like 10 damage maybe from this landing. Not even. Not even. So I don't know if you're trying to go for the soldier or not, but I assumed you were going for the supports here, right? And
just a floppy jump.
Yeah, this is like well short of where you needed to be because you really wanted to get like right here. Because I would assume the Lifeweaver would dash towards the Ana, put down bubble, and then fight it out. So you're well short. You're not able to do any damage to supports. Then you're on the soldier,
Yeah.
Right? You get stuck here, you put down bubble, right? Burn the Satyr Soldier away, but this is all, like you said, it's like pretty sloppy. And like that's gonna hold you back from Masters, right? Like this is a very straightforward, easy jump. There's no CC to worry about. Like there's no mobility. Like you just need to be on target there. In fact, there's no reason to not land on top of them if the Ana still doesn't have sleep or nade, which she doesn't. Right? That's like the number one reason why I don't land. If the Ana has sleep or nade, I try to land like one side and put the bubble down to try to block. But if she doesn't have it, I will land on her to make sure she cannot get away from me. I get stuck here. You put down bubble. Right? Get the soldier super low. So from here, let's think about this jump. Actually, let's watch it first. You got it. You jump. Great. Zap, 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 zap. Kill the Ana. Get low. You jump out. And soldier's going to burn you down. He's going to kill you. So my first note here is I would like you, after this happens, I want you to land somewhere where you can immediately zap both of them. Especially because you're nano, the landing damage isn't going to be as meaningful because they're full health, right? It's going to be as meaningful as double zapping, right?
Okay.
So because you land in the middle right here and you're looking to the left, you're not able to zap both right away. Versus one option here is to land over here, right? And then zap this way and then drop bubble down when you need to and then go after them. The other option...
That's very interesting, actually.
What's that?
That's very interesting. I don't think I would have thought of that.
Yeah. The other option is to land on the opposite side, right? Again, now you're not bursting the Ana as much, like doing a lot less damage, but you're keeping both of them in range. Zapping 2 targets as Winston is rarely sustainable for the enemy team to live. And I think this is a big problem. I think you probably do it instinctively at times, but this is a big problem that like metal rank Winstons have, is they zap one target and they're like, nobody ever dies. Like, I feel like I'm just tickling them, which is true, because 60 damage a second is meaningless, right? Every support, virtually every support, does about that much healing, if not more, and has other abilities. But if you're zapping 2 targets, consistently hitting 120 damage a second with no misses is actually really hard for people to deal with, right? Mm-hmm. Unless they're playing like a Moira or something, or a Baptiste in the right situation, it's quite hard for them to keep up with that. But you still could have landed it here if you were just a little better with your mechanics, because you do actually land right here, and if you turned right quickly enough, you could have been zapping both of them. But now the Ana goes to the right, and now you need to move to the right here to keep the Lifeweaver in range, right? You have to walk this way to keep the Lifeweaver in range. But you see how much you're not zapping the Lifeweaver? Right here, and then from this moment onwards, Lifeweaver is 94 health, and he does not take a single point of damage from you after that. All you hit him with was the landing damage, and that was it. Which is a shame, because I think that would have made a significant difference on the way that fight plays out. From here, I totally understand like what you did. You got super low, you jumped out. You could have gotten more distance, you went higher, but he's visoring, so you're worried about LOS. This is a tough decision as to whether or not you want to go this way, or hide this side. I think you're dead here no matter what, honestly. And what the real problem here is the ball distracts your team, but you shouldn't have died here. So you came back right now to newsstand. The Baptiste has 13 healing grenades, and he's going to reload and then turn around.
Oh, no.
And he has lamp. So you should not have died here. But, yeah, I mean, I'm just noting that. I still think your jump could have been better, right? With nano jump, I'm always thinking, unless I know I can burst a single target down, with double supports, I'm always thinking, I gotta be zapping both. Because most supports can keep each other alive, like literally just stand there and just look at each other and heal each other through Winston zap. So I have to be hitting both to even have a chance at getting kills, even with nano. All right. I would also note, Havana is one of the most poke-friendly maps in the game. Is very, very common. This and like Junkertown, Circuit Royale, very common where Sigma is played. So you're gonna jump in here. I'm just checking my notes real quick. Okay, so this is fine, I think. Yep. Zap, 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 zap. Everyone gets low. Yep. Ana's gone. Great. Sombra's out. Great. So right here, I leave. So critical right now to leave. You don't have bubble, you're 350 health, you do have primal, but I don't want to use primal for this because nobody's gonna die here. These guys are all really far away. I can't primal kill a Reaper. I want to be leaving right now. But you're just a little bit slow, and you take 2 big shots that are gonna drop you to 140-ish. 238, 140, and then you pop primal. This is bad because this primal is now forced out in a bad position, right? Even with the benefit of time, like let's say you have the time to think about how to plan out this primal. I don't know what you do with this, right? Like try to juggle the Reaper this way. He pops Wraith, and then what? Like, do I go in? Do I not go in? You're probably not going to do anything effective, and that's pretty much what's going to happen here, I believe. Right? You hit the Reaper here. He pops Wraith. Not that he really needed to. He could have kept shooting you for a little bit more. You just swing at the air. You hit the wall. Now you jump here in the middle. Reaper keeps hitting you. Now you've lost a ton of health. And now you're going to jump out. Still not doing anything. I think you've landed one hit on the Reaper so far, I think, from the punch.
Whoa. I hit that ball.
Okay, you hit the ball. All right, you got two punches so far. You killed the mine. You hit him back, and then you jump into the mines and die.
Okay, this confused me. I don't think I jumped. I was really confused how I hit this mine.
Well, but... we can watch it back. Right. So there.
It definitely felt like I got pushed forward. I remember when it happened.
Well, we can just see if your jump goes on cooldown. Your jump is not on cooldown. You got pushed forwards. What the heck?
Oh, there's a mine. Oh, I don't. What happened?
What the heck? It looks like he maybe knocks you backwards into a mine that. I have no idea. This is really bizarre. Okay. I'll give it to you. Yeah, something weird has happened here because you get sucked into this. What the heck? How does this happen? Okay, whatever. Anyway, something. But either way, you're at 140 health and you wasted primal. So regardless, again, the moment this all went bad was the moment. Like, this is all fine. You force Sombra out. You force the supports back out. You forced Grip from Lifeweaver. Like, everything is good so far. You're in good shape. The ball's, like, in the back, like, you know, messing around. But, like, what can you do? The moment things went wrong is when you did not jump out right now, where you 100% had to jump out. And then, from here, you still could have jumped out because Reaper can't do... I think shots do, like, 110 damage a shot or so. So as long as he doesn't hit you in the head, you're good. So even right now, at 200, you could just turn left and jumped out, and you would have been safe. But you double down right now by jumping into him. Right? Right there, you see you jump in, and then you pop primal, and then you're screwed.
I think knowing that breakpoint there is actually pretty critical. I definitely panic here, because I see like 250. Like, you play by feel mostly.
Yep.
But still.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly offhand, but I definitely think it's not 140 damage. So you go Orisa here, which is... okay. I mean, I don't think that Winston was the problem. Like, I think you were doing Winston well. And I think this is sometimes where, like, maybe you're getting like, discouraged. What's causing you to switch off Winston right now? Is it the Reaper?
I think it's... okay, well, I don't know if you ever played tank at... you played... I was going to say diamond level, but it doesn't even matter. People will... if you are not playing perfectly, people will let you have it.
Yep.
And so I think it was mostly that this game.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I would say, like, you should make the best decision to win the game, right? If you feel like Winston's working and they have a Reaper still, keep playing Winston, man, and just like mute voice and text chat. Like, yeah, they might tilt, but like if you honestly think it's your best call, just keep playing it because it's not the Reaper that's killing you here either, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely not. I think also I recognize like, dang, I played that fight. I was like super sloppy. I'm like, maybe I'm just not feeling it today, and I switched to Orisa, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but I think after our discussion today, I think I'm gonna drop Orisa. This stigma because I don't even like playing Orisa.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to either, right? I think Reinhardt's very good right now. His win rates are excellent in all levels. It's even in GM, right? He's more viable than he's ever been. Yeah. So yeah, you don't need to force her. So yeah, if you want to try to play Sigma, be my guest. But one thing to note here is I suspect, I mean, you say you're dropping Orisa, but one thing is that I think we're going to run the same problem, which is like the ball is going to mess with your backline, and you're just going to stand here shooting the ball constantly and like not actually like advancing forwards. I'm trying to remember exactly what happens from here, but I'm pretty sure. Yep, my note here is 11 minutes plus. Stop focusing on the ball. So let's just all right, we're out here. You're shooting the Sombra. This is fine. Missed javelin.
I think I also just incorrectly assumed the ball is like giving my team trouble when he's not.
The thing is, ball, he is giving your team trouble. He's distracting them. And that's when you need to know to slow down, right? That's a really common brawl versus dive, is that you need to understand the tempo. When their tank dives in, can I counter rush? If I can, do that. But if I can't counter rush, because they're too, like, for example, if I'm over here, right, and playing Reinhardt and the ball goes in, and their team's like all in high ground, like, well, the high ground's a bad example, because I don't want to play, this is why I don't play brawl here, is because, like, what am I going to do with this Asher killing my team? Nothing. But let's say they're low ground, right? It's a flat map, right? The low ground. If the ball goes in, I'm standing here, and they're all the way over there, I can't do anything anyway. So I might as well just sit here, shield, right, and let my team deal with the ball. But if I'm here, and the ball goes to the team, okay, I'll go in. If I'm here, and I see an opportunity, but I see the ball go in, I should probably chill and let my team deal with the ball and then go in after. Because all dive tanks, what they share in common is that they have like a parabola of power, right? They start really, really strong at the peak, and then they drop down as they have to reset cooldowns and get healed. Then they're strong again when they go in. So trying to go in right when their dive tank is applying maximum pressure to my team, that's when you get abandoned and you don't get healing, you don't get DPS follow-up, whatever it is. If you can desync from that even by a few seconds, it can make a massive difference on winning or losing. Just remember when your Baptiste let you die. If you lived one more second, the Baptiste would have saved your life, and then you probably capped the first point. So little things like that can be like a surprisingly big deal, like understanding that flow and the sense of timing. But this is a good example why Sigma's played here, because like everyone just kind of stands out of range. All right, correct call to follow Reaper there. Obviously he should die. Ball's messing with you again. You gotta walk forwards though. Right, you're full health, just walk forwards. The ball, as soon as you see the ball pop adaptive shields, I just leave him alone.
Yeah.
Right? Because this ball is never gonna die. He's got 822 health right now. There's no way this is gonna do anything. I just like, you know what? Let me just do something else. Right? Go after here. Go after the Ana. Right? Force Life Weaver down. Force Grip. Do anything that's not shooting at this ball. See? Like you're like totally tunnel visioning. Yeah. There's nobody else alive here, right? The Sombra is top right. One DPS is dead. Like you could have already been on top of the Ana by now. Right? You just spin, walk on top of her, pop fortify if you need to, shoot. Okay, she get gripped away. Great, follow them down. Follow them, kill them both. Not much you can do about that. Like, stuff like that you just gotta live with, right? Like, yeah, sometimes dive, that's the good thing about being dive, right? You identify people who are out of position, or force them out of position. The Sombra's here too, that helps with that, and you kill them down. The thing is, yeah, if you just sit on cart here, the ball and the Sombra pick your team apart because they keep finding people who are just slightly out of, like, you know, the Baptiste, right? And just kill them over and over and over again. You gotta get on top of the back line, but Orisa's just really bad in this situation against their comp, and I would say in general on this point. Because everything is happening outside of your effective range. Rein's gonna have the exact same problem, right? Even if you're Rein here, like, what are you gonna do? Charge in? Like, they can kite you, they can sleep you, right? They can grip you, they can pedal. A lot of things they can do. Still focusing the ball. Right, windows popped, right, blades pop, so you gotta go in right now. I wouldn't even bother using the window, but you do luckily kill a Life Weaver here. I don't know why he's peeking. Oh, he's putting tree down, that's why. I would have, at this point, I would have killed the tree. Because, like, I'm already in position and I have the window, just use the window to kill the tree. Because you get it so low, like, just kill the tree. Tree's dead. Now you're still staring at the ball. Despite the fact the ball is not going to help you. You kill the Reaper, right? The Reaper right now is a really, really juicy target. Orisa wins 1v1s against Reaper. He doesn't even have Wraith right now. He doesn't have Wraith for 3 seconds. You could have killed this Reaper. Or at minimum, you know, pushed him back and forced Wraith away to the Mega. So, looking for the vertical view. You're looking at the ball.
I contested Reaper because I'm not doing anything. It just gets killed my team.
Exactly.
Oh well.
So you're still here. Oh, good kill on the Sombra. So, but the problem is you're purple. You have no supports, right? You and 2 DPS. You pop 4 to 5 to try to stay alive, but like, unless the Genji can get a play here. Oh man, even right now, you could have done something. If you kill the Ana right now.
Oh damn.
Oh yeah, the Genji gets a kill at least.
Genji going off.
Yeah. Like, this Terra Surge is not super valuable. The average amount of damage you expect from Terra Surge is like about 150-ish.
Yeah, I think literally I'm just trying to use it to like control his movement.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, but one thing to think about is use it when he pops grapple. If you're gonna do this,
yeah.
right? But also, like, he's just so fast, he's gonna get adapted back soon. Like,
Yeah.
I literally would just hold it. Like, I know it's like, oh, you want to get some value, like maybe get a kill, but you're not killing him in this situation. Like, I knew right away you're never gonna kill him when you saw you pop it, and then you end up wasting it. Like, you were better off not using it, just running at anybody here if possible.
Okay.
But Pharah's up in the air, right? This is a good opportunity. Like, look, good opportunity to shoot the Pharah. You obviously can't contest the Life Weaver unless he peeks. Yep. So you can kill the ball here right now. I would have javelined. I see he's purple. I see a wall behind him. Instant javelin right now.
Yeah.
Alright. Still dies, but the problem is it takes you a little too long. The Pharah's applying a lot of pressure. Sombra's still here. Backline's dying. You're just poking them out. They just kind of fly above you. Everyone's ignoring you, which is the correct thing to do. Pharah's still a problem. Now she's ultied. I don't know that spin was the right call there, because she's not even looking at you.
It's full panic mode at this point.
I understand. You're like trying to eat spam for your Pharah, for your main. Like, what else can you really do? So right now you're exclusively looking at the Pharah, but she's really high up. So I would have tried to kill, because I can hear like in the headset, like I can hear other enemies down here, right?
Yeah.
Like, this Life Weaver is frozen right here, as is the Ana. So,
Oh no.
to be fair, I don't think you're gonna win this fight anyway. Like, this is like not a winnable situation, but this is like tunnel visioning to the extreme.
Yeah. This is bad.
Okay, so obviously that's the end of that game. All right, questions? Anything that you want me to cover, or do you want me to try booting up the other replays if there's something that you want me to look at?
No, no, this was good. I think there's so much here that I had tried looking at. I was inspired to like look at some of my replays after watching some of your stuff, and it's you catch some things, but man, there's like there's really a lot. There's a lot more here. That was really helpful.
Yeah. Happy to.
Yeah.
No.
I'm glad you like my Winston play. That gives me some good confidence because I love playing Winston. So more excuses to play Winston. Awesome.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not just sugarcoating. It's like I feel the game sense out of it, right? Like I feel like you know what you're doing, you know where to be going, you know how to be effective. The mechanics, like I said, are really letting you down. I would feel
that's something that you're always gonna try and improve, though. But yeah,
it's true. But like it's like a significant departure. Like obviously, I'm not saying like, oh, you don't have master's level primal. Like it's worse than diamond. It's because the other things are able to pull you up. Like if I was a support and like I would feel totally comfortable taking you on in primal rage because I don't think you can consistently kill me. And that's like really gonna you gotta put the fear of God in the supports or else they will abuse you. Like I've had supports before I got better at primal who would just stand like right out of range and just keep shooting me and like wouldn't stop. Like they wouldn't run away, they wouldn't pop defensive cooldowns because they knew I couldn't hit them, right? Because I would jump over them or I'd miss them with a swing or like whatever it was, and they just punished me for it all game long, and it was just like a massive throw. So that's got to be there. But otherwise, like I said, things I think in general look good. Obviously, tough to make some really split-second quick decisions. Like the Reaper one really costed you there. But overall, like for sure, I think Winston feels very good at you. Reinhardt was really hard to evaluate because you were constantly playing Rein into Orisa. So like, what are you going to do anyway?
That's I haven't. That's the thing. I feel like the Rein Winston. You've seen the hours. Like I feel obviously the most comfortable on them, but I feel like Rein. He has like a lot of dicey matchups, so I feel like I can't play him a lot. Winston, I feel like kind of map or point dependent. Like at least for in the diamond meta right now, there's just a lot of bastions, so it kind of. I mean, it's not impossible. Like I definitely pull it out, but it limits your options. So then I'm stuck playing Orisa, and I suck at Orisa.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I didn't look at your Orisa play and be like, oh, like you're way worse than I expected. Like you still feel like a diamond Orisa, but. It's like not. It doesn't feel like it's carrying you by any means.
No.
So you'll need to invest more. But the thing is, like, if you start playing Sigma's a hard hero. Like I don't know if you have any hours in it, but like he's not easy.
Honestly, it's his ultimate that like really throws me off.
Yeah.
Like I feel like utilizing that correctly is well at least felt the least intuitive to me out of what hours I put into him. I don't know. We'll see.
The tip I will give you for his ultimate is, especially for now, don't even worry about getting multi-kills. Put it dead center it over one person that you know is gonna die. Lift them and then hit them in the air, and then hit them on the ground if necessary to kill them. Like,
Okay.
I think the biggest problem for Sigmas I see is, including myself, is you get greedy and you try to lift multiple. But the delay is a lot longer than you expect, and so many people have ways to get out of it. But if you dead center on someone, they almost always will die. But I would note is that one thing to do is also a funny thing is move it over them, but don't pop it. And then wait for them to use their defensive cooldown and then pop it. Like, it works often against like anyone with a dash, like Hanzo or Moira sometimes, etc. It's like you can actually force them to dash when they think it's going to be on them, and then pop it over them. But yeah,
That's good. I like that.
The attack is really hard, and you got to be so good with it. Like, there's no way for me to hide that. Like, Sigma's attack is honestly one of the hardest attacks in the game to land, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like 3 years ago my aim was like so good, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't play enough heroes that are like that use it, so it's just gotten worse. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll bring it back.
Yep, the projectile aim, and then learning how to bounce it so that you can splash people even when you're not hitting direct. It's tough, but he's very satisfying to play. He's a great solo carry hero. He's a very he's not a very greedy hero. You don't need a lot of healing. You can play him basically any support lineup is viable, and as long as they don't have dive, you're basically good to go. And all the things that bother you about other tanks like the Zenyatas and the Bastions or Reapers or whatever are all not a problem for Sigma, who just eats them for lunch.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I enjoyed talking Overwatch with you. It was a lot of fun.
Of course. Happy to do it. My pleasure. All right. Any final questions?
No.
All right. It was great having this chat with you, and look forward to you telling me about how you're getting to Masters.
Yeah.
Cool.